there. Welcome back to Resistance Chicks. We're your hosts, Leah and Michelle. We're just like St. Patty's Day because we won't be going live with you tomorrow for St. Patrick's Day. If you don't know, our family's Irish. At least a portion of them are Irish. Our grandma's maiden name was Dyer. I have a shirt that says the Dyer clan. I didn't want to wear it. It's my pajama shirt. But I thought about it. No, that was a little British. Okay, so here's the deal, guys. We, happy St. Patrick's Day, a day early. It's the anniversary of us purchasing this house, our 8-year anniversary. Yep. Being homeowners. So that's really exciting. We bought it on St. Patty's Day in honor of our grandma. Yes. Or it just so happened to be that way. I don't know. So, welcome. Today is our Friday show that we do every Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Don't mind me. I'm just getting things queued up here.
Hoping that our UK viewers and all of our foreign viewers that haven't experienced daylight savings time yet understand that we're going live now, or else they'll be here in an hour.
That's true, but it's a little bit earlier for them. So, and every time I go backwards, it always just.
All right, so a couple of things. Chris Holman did an excellent montage of the Rally for Our Rights that he attended that we met him up with. He actually inserted throughout a lot of Founding Fathers quotes and stuff like that he actually spoke, and it's a really fascinating video. So I want you guys to go and watch and share the heck out of that video. It's on Chris Holman's channel.
So speaking of that, Mike Gibbons is running for U.S. Senate.
They all had shirts there with his name on it. There were several people.
And he made this post today, and he was talking about the Rally for Our Rights, and
which is really significant. It's not just an Ohio thing. It happened in Ohio, but Ohio was the first state to pretty much stand up against the bullying that's taking place, right? For this gun grab. So we're going to talk about the student walkout. I have an email out to Nick, one of the students that we've interviewed, you guys know, to see if he wants to talk about it. I haven't heard back from him yet, but I told him we would be going live tonight. If he wants to join in, I'll throw the Skype up there and see what he has to say about the student walkout.
He posted a couple pictures here. Phenomenal energy at the Rally for Our Rights. Our Second Amendment rights must be defended, and I thanked everyone who stood with us today. Thanks to Ohio Carry, Ohioans for concealed carry, Ohio gun owners for organizing today. And here's just a few pictures. Look at all those people.
That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people.
So I wanted to share that with you guys. Now, many of you, I thought the student walkout was supposed to be the 24th. It was the 14th. So it was just a couple days ago. And from what we are seeing coming out of that,
I have to tell you, and listen, my neighbors, I'm assuming they don't watch our show, so I can say what I want. But one of my neighbors, who is a Christian conservative, Bible-believing woman, posted on her Facebook. She said, I know this is unpopular. That's kind of how she talks. But my daughter participated in the walkout, and I'm really,
so
really proud of her. Well, somebody had shared, and I wish I had it up so that I could read it verbatim, but I don't. So you're going to get the Michelle interpretation here of this. But some mom posted this conversation that she had with her child, who was asking if they could participate in the student walkout. And she said, well, what is it? And they said, it's a protest. And she said, okay, I can understand protests. They accomplish change. What's the protest for? And they said, well, to change the gun laws. And the mom says, okay, so what gun laws are you wanting to change? And the child says, well, I don't know, but I just know that they need to change. And she says, okay, well, who are you appealing to? Who are you trying to get the attention of with this protest? And the child says, well, I don't know. And there was a lot more detail to it, but the punchline is, she said, then no. You cannot participate in ignorance. If you do not know the gun laws that you are trying to change, if you do not know the people, the lawmakers, who you are trying to appeal to change, then no, you may not participate in something that is supposed to be changing our Constitution.
This is so good. This was a sheep herding episode where you just did whatever your peers
These
did.
children, they don't know the current gun laws.
Right.
They don't know any of our founding fathers. They don't know the original intent. This stuff has been completely wiped.
Well, they're still taught about the
from
Great
history.
Switch, that suddenly there was all the Republicans were all in the South and they were all slave owners. Well, that's not exactly true.
Yeah.
You know, and at the same time, this was not student led.
Right.
This was not grassroots.
It was funded by the Women's March, who is funded by George Soros.
Right.
It was funded by Oprah Winfrey, who's one of the new possible stand-ins, and George Clooney. I find that that's a little bit ironic that the two movie stars that the left is trying to put forward as possible presidential candidates,
Right.
Clooney and Winfrey, are the ones that are donating. Wasn't it an equal amount? Didn't they both donate $500,000? You guys don't see that as coincidental? I mean, seriously.
All right, so here's the thing. Why was it unconstitutional? I'm going to get to you. I'm going to get to that point. The GOP in Chicago is actually suing schools for the walkout because they were actually organizing elementary kids.
Wow.
The teachers were organizing and sent out an email to parents in a lot of these elementary schools saying, we've been talking a lot about guns, we've been talking about a lot of gun safety, blah, blah, blah. I guarantee you they were not talking about the right to bear arms and the Second Amendment.
Right.
So here's my punchline. It is unconstitutional for a government agency to brainwash children against the Constitution. That is
to protest them.
That is sedition.
Absolutely.
And treason.
Yes.
And to brainwash children that their Second Amendment, that their Constitution is wrong. Well, what are you going to lose? The First Amendment? Let's go back to slavery. Let's just take away all the amendments.
Right.
If the public school that is funded by you and me can brainwash children that we don't need a certain amendment, where does it end? This is communism. So this poor child, this says, somebody posted this video today. Kids were suspended for not walking out. A child was suspended for not walking out.
I saw that. It blows
he posted
my mind.
his suspension because he stayed in his classroom rather than walk out with all the other kids. Now this kid, this is Kenny McDonald says, kids at our school today walked out in honor of the 17 students killed in Florida. Now a lot of kids thought that they were walking out just in honor of those kids, but that's not why they were walking out, because the whole rally was they were holding signs like the NRA kills people.
And I have that picture up in the thumbnail, actually.
Right. And if it was a rally to honor those children,
I'm all down with it. But I'm not down with
like the
students, the possibility of them
and
getting
I have
that
that
picture
picture
up in
up
the thumbnail, actually,
right.
for not participating in that honor.
If it was a rally to honor those walked out and honor the 17 students that killed in Florida,
I'm not
students
down
held sign that says honor the teachers. They had two signs. A student rally outside peacefully, put up a sign which says guns don't kill people. If it was a rally to honor those children, he was escorted off the property by our police, held sign put in a police car. This violates the First Amendment. Whatever they want. Please let this go. If it was a rally to honor those walked out and escorted off the property,
I'm not down with
if it was a rally to honor those walked out and escorted off the property,
I'm not down with that video. I'm not down with I don't put anything out. I thought I muted that.
what was it?
Well, I like to keep the Facebook chat up, but in order to see the Facebook live chat, I have to actually play us. And I usually go in and mute it, and I pressed mute.
So while we're there,
Sorry, guys.
under a heavily armed police guard, Bernie Sanders addresses the anti-gun rally.
Heavily armed Bernie Sanders, and I think Chuck Schumer was armed or guarded.
And so is Chris Cuomo, mayor, or is he the governor of New York?
I think
a national.
Hang on, they're telling me it's still there.
Wait,
hang on, it might be a minute. I don't have any other sound going. I'll have to. Let's see if they tell me. There's a 30-second lag on this, by the way. So I'll have to. I can't get stuff from you for 30 seconds.
Keep telling us if it's gone. I'm gonna try to keep talking.
Okay.
A national school walkout was held by students on the 14th protesting gun violence across the country, and Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders joined the students in D.C. on the U.S. Capitol, but so did his armed guards. In multiple locations, students hit the streets and parking lots in their respective school districts to walk out in solidarity with the Parkland students who are calling for more gun control after the student attacked by a deranged gunman. Now, here's the thing. I said this before. We talk about this all the time. I'm going to say it again. They're not actually marching. See, this is why children's brains are not fully developed.
They're not on YouTube. They're not on Twitter. They're not on Facebook. They are not getting all of the news that says, hey, guess what? The students are walking out in opposition of the Second Amendment. So they will easily believe if they are being told we're walking out and it was a lie.
Right.
Right? And that's what really makes me angry, because I believe that many students would not have walked out if they had known that that's what it was for. And it wasn't just in honor of these kids that were shot.
And actually, I was going to go a different direction, but yes, their brains are not developed, because if they were fully developed, at least 50% of them would, if they were going to walk out for some reason, and they're going to protest something, they wouldn't protest the gun that shot. They would be protesting and marching against the FBI.
Right.
Who dropped the ball. They would be saying, FBI, you need to pick up the bag. FBI, you failed us. FBI, this blood is on your hands. Because that is an absolutely true statement.
Yeah.
So to march, FBI kills people.
I'm sorry.
Right?
I hate to be like against cops, because we are pro-cop. However,
Broward
the
County
Broward County
killed
police
people.
did not go in.
Broward,
even when they got there, it's not even the armed security guard that was there. It's not just him. The other police officers, when they got there, they're standing there on the outside, and there was an actual official, what is it? Not demand, but whatever, that said that they had to. It was a clause that said, you are always to be the first to engage the shooter as soon as you are on scene. And that happened after Columbine. Right. They introduced that countrywide.
I could see
this is how we respond to school shootings.
I could see a march or a protest saying, there's a law that was put in place in Florida so that the minority kids didn't go straight from high school to prison. Right. So I would march against the law. Yeah. That made it so that these kids stayed in school. Right. Because that killed these kids. Yes. I would be marching against that. So that's why it's so insane, and it's hard for me to even speak it, because I'm so adamant and so fervent. The NRA had nothing to do with this. The NRA teaches people how to save lives, how to go into an active shooter situation to save lives. Now, I'm guessing that if that Broward County deputy who was outside was an active member of the NRA and taught people how to take out active shooters, then he would have gone straight in there. But he was a coward. Yeah. And he wasn't part of the NRA. He didn't understand the backlash that he was going to receive if he didn't save these kids' lives.
I think in that moment you don't even care about any backlash. You're looking out for number one.
So we don't need more gun control if the law is not actually followed through. What good is it? Right. Obama actually took 500,000 people off the FBI checklist. Right. So I would march against that.
So we can also go back to Sutherland Springs. Right. How there was an error that was dropped in reporting, right, to that shooter who should not have been able to have a weapon because he was dishonorably discharged from the military. So here's the thing, guys. I can't express to you how fervent I feel if you still have your children in the public school system, the public school indoctrination system. If this single moment alone, the fact that the public schools had these children committing unconstitutional marches, that the public school was initiating some sort of anti-government, which is what it was, an anti-government march that your kids are supposed to participate in. They can't put up their own signs of freedom of speech. Right. They're getting suspended if they do not participate in anti-government seditious marches. They're not in school. Kids are supposed to go to school to learn to read and write and do math. That is it. They are not there to learn how to be civilian protesters and anti-government and whatnot. So I'm telling you, all of you people that are holdouts here that watch us, and you still have your children in the public school indoctrination system, and this is not enough to say, okay, we have to pull our kid.
Not for me.
I don't even know why you're watching our show.
So this,
I'm serious. You gotta pull them.
This public school teacher was suspended for questioning the march, the walkout.
This lady?
No, it was a reporter.
Okay,
hang on.
History at Rockland High and tells me it was only appropriate to talk to her class about the politics of organized protests ahead of the school walkout. But she says the school disagreed with her views and told her to stay home this morning.
I am aghast.
Julianne Benzel says she never discouraged her students from participating in National School Walkout, but she did question whether it's appropriate for a school to support a protest against gun violence if it's not willing to support all protests.
It's the best example I thought of at the time. If a group of students nationwide or even locally decided I want to walk out of school for 17 minutes and go in the quad area and protest abortion, would that be allowed by our administration?
She says the administration didn't talk to her about her lecture last week, but while thousands of students walked out of class Wednesday morning, Mrs. Benzel received this letter from her Human Resources Department informing her she's being placed on paid administrative leave.
I didn't get any backlash from my students. All my students totally understood that there cannot be a double standard.
Including Nick Wade, who did not walk out.
If we were to go to the school and say something like, I want to walk out for maybe abortion rights, then, they probably wouldn't let us because that's more of a conservative push.
The Rockland School District won't say whether his teacher is in trouble because of that classroom debate. A spokeswoman provided this statement, reading in part, a Rockland High School teacher has been placed on paid administrative leave due to several complaints from parents and students.
Very divisive inherently.
For now, Mrs. Benzel hopes the National Student Walkout prompts a bigger conversation, not just about Second Amendment gun rights, but First Amendment free speech.
But if you're going to allow students to get up and walk out of class without penalty, then you have got to be able to allow any group of student that wants to protest.
Now, Mrs. Benzel tells me she has retained legal counsel and plans to sit down with school administrators tomorrow morning.
You guys, this has gotten way
out of hand.
I mean, this is just absolutely too much because that is the most sound-minded argument.
Right.
No one should be able to argue with that argument.
Right.
You can't. If there is going to be a double standard, you just can't have it. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? You can't have the double standard.
Right.
I'm kind of at a loss for words because they're placing her on administrative leave, and they said because parents and students complained. But I don't think that is true. I'm going to guess that if any student or parent complained, it was probably students of another class that heard about it, or a parent with an agenda that heard about it that complained, not the students that were in her class, because she said none of the students had an issue with that. Mm. It's still 100% sound-minded argument.
Right.
Anybody that can't see that, then we go back to school.
All right. So we know for a fact that the FBI wanted this to happen.
Yes.
Because they got several calls and they knew this kid was a threat. They were able to put two and two together, and they didn't. Now the Chicago GOP has filed a lawsuit against the Chicago Public Schools because the student walkout is political indoctrination, pure and simple. The Chicago Republican Party plans to file a lawsuit against Chicago Public Schools over its decision to organize students. Jasper wants a treat right there. To participate in Wednesday's student walkouts that promoted gun control. It's appalling that a 10 to 14-year-old would be coerced by their teachers to participate in a political demonstration, said Chris Cleveland, chairman of the Chicago GOP. In a statement, a 10-year-old kid isn't going to have an informed opinion on these political matters and shouldn't be expected to have the fortitude to hold a different opinion from everyone else in his or her classroom. This is political indoctrination, pure and simple.
Know how hard it is as a student to like Nike when everybody else likes, what's the new, like Puma or something, okay? Like, seriously, it's very difficult to have an opposing view on anything.
You get the wrong
I like Beyonce.
Season.
I don't like Beyonce. I mean, it's like...
You get the wrong season of a certain pair of Adidas's and you're not cool.
I know. You can't disagree with your peers in public school.
Right.
And so if you got the peers that are the leaders... agreeing with the teachers
Right.
or the authorities or the powers that be because it's cool, because the
Right.
movie stars all say that this is a great thing.
It's a movie star thing, exactly. It's a violation of CPS policy of state law and the First Amendment
Thank
for
you.
a government-run school to organize a political demonstration and pressure students to participate in it. This is like when your second or first grade teacher told you that your mom was insane for not wanting more property taxes because you were going to lose
Actually,
field trips.
that was my 6th grade teacher, and I was pretty intelligent at that time, I feel, in 6th grade. And the school levy came, and Leah was pretty politically active, at least conscious, I think is a better word, at the time. So you would have been in 9th grade, 10th grade, something like that. And my mom also, they were telling me, we don't want more property taxes. We lived in an apartment, so it really wasn't going to affect us, was it? I mean, you don't pay property taxes. It was just...
You do pay property taxes. It just
the point,
it wouldn't really have affected us.
My point is, you guys were against it, and so as a child, I believed my family. I believed those that I care about, because that's what you do. You don't have a mind of your own, unfortunately, yet. And I expressed this to my teacher, and my teacher said, your mom and your sister don't know what they're talking about. They are wrong.
All right, so here's an email, actually, that Breitbart was able to obtain from Lincoln Elementary School to Chicago parents. Dear Lincoln families, this coming Wednesday, March 14th, many students in schools across the nation and globe are going to participate in a school demonstration walkout at 10 a.m. And then it goes on to say, due to our testing, we're going to do it in the afternoon, and parents can participate. It says our walkout demonstration will be for grades 5 through 8, students and teachers. Every K through 8 teacher and staff member is welcome to participate, of course, if they are free. Here is a great way for K through 4th students to participate in an activity on March 14th. And it talks about student walkout met with walk up, not out challenge. There will be a silent demonstration. It talks about 1 silent minute for each kid. Note that a 3:35 school bell will ring, but this will not signal the end of the demonstration. Then it goes, talks about when kindergarten students will be dismissed. It says if students or others wish to demonstrate regarding their views on gun control, etc., that is their right. School personnel is not making judgment calls. We do ask for peace, respect, and decorum. If there are students that do not wish to join the demonstration, the teachers will direct them to the main office with their items to go home, and we will point them in the right direction and location where they may be free to stay until... And it just goes on to say, it's just absolutely insane. The Center of Civic Education has a myriad lessons plans to support civics, talks about this. And then talking tips, talking points for...
this is a political rally.
Right.
Okay? You only give talking points at political rallies.
But the CPS actually, it prohibits any activity of organizing a political protest. Political activities, employees are permitted to engage in political activities on a voluntary basis during non-work hours and vacation and personal time, but they're not permitted to engage in political activity
leading students
on any board compensated time. This is unconstitutional and is against the law. At no time shall any office or employee intentionally misappropriate the services of any employee by requiring that any employee perform any political activity. No official or employee shall require any employee to participate in a political activity. No official or employee shall award, and no employee shall accept any additional compensation, such as salary, for political participation. No official employee shall use his or her official board position to engage in political activity or endorse a candidate for elective office. This is the supervisor using superintendent using their position for a political position. The Chicago GOP sent a letter to the CPS CEO, Janice Jackson, requesting that the student walkouts and demonstration be canceled, and also filed a complaint with the CPS office. And I guess we haven't heard any as a result of this, but Breitbart News also contained a memo from Chicago's Burr Elementary School to parents that demonstrates the students' political activities were organized by the school district and referred to as Burr's Day of Action. That is just like organizing for action. If 10 to 1, I bet that the person who's put this together had gone through organizing for action, because they're given talking points and they're not able to come up with anything of their own, so they go to a recipe book and the recipe comes out the same, right? We are pleased to announce that Burr will be taking part in this political activity. This is not student. See, this is the difference, right? When we were kids, we were public school most of our lives, but we were homeschooled for a few years. We had a day of prayer. Mm-hmm. Teachers were allowed to join but they in no way were allowed to endorse or organize. Same thing with Bible studies.
Yeah.
They have a strict line. Teachers cannot organize prayer.
Right.
Teachers cannot organize Bible studies. Teachers cannot have anything to do with any religious.
But that's religious. We're talking about political activism here.
I know.
Okay, I mean, in all honesty, if a bunch of Muslim students want to get together and have, on their off time, and the Muslim teachers want to get together, okay, fine. I mean, maybe they're planning some suicide bombs. I don't know. But my point is, a religious thing is not the same as political activism.
Right.
It's just not.
Go here. More. Our 8th graders have been doing a lot of learning, researching, and thinking and discussing around the topic of guns and gun violence in the past 6 weeks.
Hang on, though. Why?
Past weeks.
Why is that something that's being talked about and taught in the schools? That was not part of the curriculum when the year started.
Right.
Why are we wasting time? My kid needs, I don't know how many kids. My kid needs to learn how to read and write and do math, and that is it. That is all they are there for you to teach them. They are not there for you to teach them how they should think and act politically.
Right. They said that they have appropriate activities for 6th and 7th graders to engage in prior to the walkout. They've also created a vision and activities for the 14th and are excited for all the middle school students to take part in this day of action.
Day of action, not day of mourning or day of remembrance.
But this is a student movement at its roots. But we're going to organize the activities. We're going to organize the whole day for them.
But these kids, a lot of them thought that it was a day of remembrance.
Right.
Because it was supposed to be for 17 minutes to represent the 17 students whose lives were lost.
And then from 10:17 to 11 o'clock, students will carry signs and hold banners along Ashland Avenue with messages encouraging the public to take action in ending gun violence, push their congressmen to support the creation of stricter gun laws, and to bring a general awareness to this divisive issue. Did you see that? Mm-hmm. That is insanity. This wasn't, hey, kids, how do you feel about the Second Amendment? You are going to think one thing. You're going to make signs according to... This is... pimping children. This is child prostitution.
Here's the
political child prostitution.
I actually could go this far. If it was completely student-led, which it's not. If it was completely student-led and both sides of the debate were encouraged to be expressed, and if they had allowed students that wanted to remain behind to remain behind, I'm still not for it, but I could at least let it go that far. But the fact that there was that student there who had his own sign and he's being told he can't express that view, it was, and the fact that it is completely adult led with talking points coming straight out of the Organizing for Action playbook.
Right.
You guys, this is completely unconstitutional, and I have to say it again. If your child is still in the public school indoctrination system, you have got to pull them. You have to.
Right.
This
is a public school indoctrination system. So, I don't know if you want to read any comments on this particular craziness that's going on, the student walkout.
They were actually going really fast.
Okay.
The globalists are getting desperate. Gary says, back with the shoes. Sook says, don't mess with my LA gears. Son, with the LA gears, man. You can't do it. Let's see. What was the name of the state where teachers got a 5% raise in pay? Was that a thing?
West Virginia, I think.
Let's see.
We can move on. You can just read them if you think of something. So, I'm actually glad that it's over. Because I feel like we can move on now. They put all their eggs, I feel like, in one basket in this march. And it's a dud. Because we're standing firm.
Hang on, though. Aaron says, our friend Aaron here has a really good point. And I had not thought of this, by the way. Did anyone else think that if someone were in fact looking to take out a bunch of kids, that everyone walking out at the same time would be like fish in a barrel? How is this even remotely safe?
That's true.
Here we are talking about keeping our students safe.
Right.
And now you're just going to let them all walk out in the open. I mean, thank God nothing happened, because then we'd be looking at the possibility of a false flag where some NRA member,
right,
you know what I mean, went and shot up a bunch of students that are marching against the NRA. I'm actually shocked that did not happen.
So I do want to point out something that was positive, because there were several schools that actually did not participate in the walkout.
And they did a walk up.
They put, I don't have the video up, but kids put happy encouraging sticky notes.
That's why they called it walk, because they want you to walk up to other students and encourage them and things like that. And
I just got a goosebumps when I saw that. Here's one of them. I'm going to...
You can read it. Students across the U.S. are protesting gun violence with a walkout at their schools. Others are encouraging students to walk up, not out, and show an act of kindness. This is how Westlake High School in Saratoga Springs, Utah is participating. They're walking up to peers who sit alone at lunch and inviting them into a group. Reaching out to peers who cause a disturbance in class. And walking up to a teacher and thanking them. What do you think of the walk up, not out movement? I got goosebumps watching that too. I hadn't seen that yet.
There's another one that actually saw the kids putting the stickers on the...
That is absolutely
fantastic. So there's another kid who... I don't know what is up with these kids who are just so easily in the spotlight. It makes me kind of like, woo, a little bit weird. But there's another kid who is, and my Twitter is going slow to bring him up.
It's a conspiracy.
Kyle Kashuv. He is the poster boy here for the Second Amendment, which is hilarious. He's met with Ben Carson. He's met with the president. He's met with the first lady.
Hasn't he been on Tucker?
He is everywhere. It's funny to watch him. He goes back and forth. He wants to bring both sides together. He says, though, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The flag will unite our country, he says. It's definitely an interesting thing to see. He says, this isn't political. You sure about that? Believe it or not, cursing at politicians doesn't make you look like a big boy. If I ever spoke like that, I would have a very soapy mouth. So this is him.
I got my mouth washed out with soap when I was a kid.
His, see, the March 24th, there's another one. There's a March for Our Lives. See, they are doing...
Our politicians weren't the bitch of the NRA.
It doesn't make sense that I have to wait till I'm 21 to get a handgun, but I can get this weapon at 18. I don't know.
We didn't address it, Mr. President, but I think...
You know why? Because you're afraid of the NRA, right?
What if we all voted and said this is not okay?
It was an incredibly exciting election night. In a district, there never should have been a question that the Republicans should have won.
This is very interesting. Somebody put this together, because how would this kid know about a guy in Pennsylvania winning a special election? I barely knew about this guy. And actually, we're not even sure if he won yet, by the way. There was a special election. The rally in Pennsylvania was for this guy named Lamb. And, against this young Democrat who's actually, in his advertisement, this is what's so backwards about this.
Yeah.
In his political ads, he shows himself shooting an AR-15, saying he's going to stand up for people's Second Amendment rights. He ran on supporting tariffs.
Right.
He ran as a Republican. So for this David Hogg to put this together, it's so weird. This is deep state. This is as deep as it goes.
They're sending a Democrat from the heart of Trump country.
Voters are
a Democrat. We're not exactly sure if he won.
Who's pro AR-15 and gun rights and tariffs.
A message. And if the president isn't hearing it,
Don Lemon?
A whole lot of other people are.
What if we stood up as Americans and fought for our freedom and our children's lives?
Hang on, freedom?
Everybody is...
Freedom is my Second Amendment, son.
Maybe you don't understand that all of the historical mass murders that have happened within the past 100 years that took people's lives and freedom from them all started with taking their guns away. So I don't know how your reasoning came to that conclusion, Mr. Hogg.
While you're standing there, bring up the video from Ivan and put that in the description, because this is the best video I've seen against gun control, because it literally takes you through
history, starting
with the Armenian genocide. First, they took everybody's guns and they put all the Armenian Christians on a gun registry.
Right.
Then they just wiped them out.
All right, it's called Innocence Betrayed: The True Story of Gun Control. It does have graphic violence, and the video is very disturbing. I have a really hard time watching these things. I made myself watch it because it really does give you in 1 hour a drive-by through history of genocide in the past 100
Cambodia,
years.
the Bolshevik Revolution, Chairman Mao, and Joseph Stalin. Everybody takes the guns. In the Ukraine was the breadbasket, right? What did they do first? They took all the Ukrainian guns, gun registries. Don't tell me that a communist revolution or some other totalitarian government couldn't try to rear its ugly head, because it's trying very hard. Why do you think they're trying to grab our guns so hard right now? I have to pull this
up in order to get the link, because somehow it's just giving me the Facebook link. So if you hear it for 1 second, that's why.
Saying politicians who are corrupt, politicians who are accepting money from these organizations, you can't run from us. We are the people who voted you in, and we are the people who will vote you out.
Hang on, child. You didn't vote anyone in. You're a child.
My name is David Hogg, and I stand with the Never Again movement. Join us on March 24th as we march for our lives and the future of America.
See, you know what? I don't like getting old. Hang on, though. Hold the phone 1 second. I don't like getting old, but there is one thing that I appreciate about being an older person. And that means that I've gone through the school of hard knocks.
Yeah.
And I have learned and I have earned a little bit more right to vote than you have at your child age. Now, granted, I think David Hogg is 18 and he can vote, but just barely. Okay? You people don't know what you are talking about. You have not studied history. You're not sound-minded. You are a sheep in a crowd being led by a wolf in sheep's clothing. This is insanity. All right, I'm going to drop this link here in the chat. I want you guys to grab that link. That is your homework for tonight. And I'm also going to put it in the description. It's 1 hour long. You are to watch it. You are to share it.
This is really funny. So Twitter sent out an invite to survivors, students, activists. And sent out an invite to all and tag these kids in it. Monday, March 19th. Watch live. Tweet your questions. Kyle, who has met with the president, I think that's probably as activist as you can get.
I believe so.
Says, I'm a survivor. I'm a student. I'm kind of an activist, but I didn't get an invite.
Aww.
Where's my invite, Twitter?
Kyle. Maybe because they don't want your kind there.
Yeah, so...
this is not an open discussion. It is a closed discussion. This is a closed event. It's like the Women's March. You're supposed to be marching for women's rights. What was her name that wanted to march with her group?
What?
At the Women's March.
Yeah.
What's her name that wanted to march? The pro-life.
Oh, Abby Johnson.
Abby Johnson wanted to take her crew there. She's pro-life. And march at the Women's March. And at first they said yes. And then they came back and said, well, no, you don't really align with our beliefs. I'm a woman. I'm marching for women's rights. I'm marching for the rights of women in the womb. And yet somehow I don't belong. I can't march for women's rights. These children are supposedly marching for the safety in schools.
This is hilarious. So he tweets this out at Jimmy Kimmel. So Jimmy Kimmel is donating to Stormy Daniels' legal fund as an act of patriotism. Mm-hmm. Stormy Daniels is a prostitute porn star who says she's got dirt on Trump, but she needs, some money.
Oh, for crying out loud.
And so Kyle says, Jimmy Kimmel, have you ever heard of the Wounded Warriors Project? Please take the money you're about to waste and help our veterans that have fought for us all tirelessly. I think that's money better spent, but no media will likely cover it, sadly. So I like where Kyle's going with a lot of his chutzpah. So, and he's not, he wants some gun control. He really is. He really does. I'm not saying that he's perfect or anything like that, but there he has it. There you have it. So
Gary says, stop teaching communism in school and teach real history. Donna says, come on now, Gary, they no longer teach history. If history was taught, the students will realize all the lies that are being told by the left.
So, we're going to move on from that into another disturbed teenager murder. This disturbed
this is bad.
Teenager did not have a gun. But you know what he was armed with?
Knife.
Well, what else was he armed with?
Islam.
Mentally. There you go. Thank you. This teen actually stabs a boy at a sleepover for the kid's birthday.
That's insanity.
And
he stabbed the boy. He stabbed his, I think, little sister or something.
Yeah.
There's another family member and the mom, I think.
A Florida teenager who had previously been investigated for alleged violent tendencies.
Again, with the previously investigated. These authorities know who these psychopath children are, and they are letting them on the loose. On purpose.
Watched jihadist videos and read the Quran to give him courage before stabbing a 13-year-old boy to death and seriously injuring 2 others at a birthday sleepover.
It was the kid's birthday that died.
He was 17 years old and was charged. He is 17 years old and charged with first-degree murder and attempted first-degree murder after police say he confessed to the assault at the 13th birthday sleepover at in a Ballin Isle County home in the Palm Beach Post said. Jupiter Police, Palm Beach County School District Police, and the FBI previously received intelligence gathering on Johnson that prompted an investigation into his alleged violent tendencies. Johnson reportedly told police he woke up at 4 a.m. Monday at Kyle Bancroft's home and had an urge to kill Kyle's mother, Elaine Simpson, Kyle's brother, and 13-year-old Dane Bancroft, Dane's friend, and 13-year-old Giovanni Sierra. The 3 victims were each asleep at the time, the Post reported. In his statement, Johnson advised he stabbed the victims because of his Muslim faith. Johnson and Kyle Bancroft allegedly watched violent jihadist videos the night before, and the 17-year-old carried out the deadly stabbing.
So he
using
was
a
17.
knife he brought to the home.
And he killed a 13-year-old.
Yeah.
There's a big difference between 13 and 17.
Absolutely.
I mean, I don't even want to say it, but I wonder why the kid was even allowed to be at the
So I guess
sleepover.
Simon, apparently hearing Sierra moan in pain, began walking upstairs at 6 a.m. where Johnson allegedly lunged at her. Police said he stabbed at her at least a dozen times before she fell down the stairs. Dane was stabbed 32 times while attempting to help his mother. He's a hero, the boy's father said during a phone interview with the Post. He saved his mom.
Oh my gosh.
Sierra was pronounced dead at the scene, and Simon and Dane were taken to the hospital where Simon remains in good condition as of Tuesday. Kyle Bancroft and Johnson were not harmed in the incident. Police were alerted after Simon ran to a neighbor begging to call 911. She rang my bell. She's bleeding. The neighbor later said, Corey Johnson is out there with a knife. He's a murderer. That's all I know. They're trying to help the kid, and the kid's filled with blood. Johnson was taken into custody around 8 a.m. after briefly barricading himself in a room. He later told authorities he was upset. He was upset Sierra, who turned 13 on Monday, called celebrities gods because it went against his Muslim faith. Johnson also said Dane made fun of his Islamic faith. The teen told police he read the Quran before going to the sleepover to give him courage to carry out his intentions. And Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office had received information prior to the stabbings that Johnson reached out to ISIS online.
Oh my gosh.
And expressed his desire to join the terror group.
Did he get a hold of him?
Law enforcement officials at the time investigated Johnson by tracking his social media accounts and movements and interviewing his family. The team was also being investigated for several threats that prompted evacuations at a British school in October 2016. Authorities had planned to file charges against Johnson for international school threats a week before the sleepover rampage. But they didn't. Here is another ball dropped. If this kid was booked over international school threats, then he would have been in juvie.
And that's the thing that these kids don't understand. I go back to that conversation that mother had with her child. If you guys missed it, go back and watch towards the beginning. If these kids are protesting in ignorance, they don't understand what the real problem is.
Right.
If they did, we might actually have an insurrection on our authorities here, our police, our FBI. I mean, the kids might revolt against the police. And I'm not saying that would be a good thing, but at least it would actually make more sense.
Right.
Because we are seeing the ball being dropped, and these incidences are allowed to carry on because they are wanted. They want these kids to carry these things out.
They are wanted.
This kid didn't have a gun, but I guarantee you, if he had had a gun, these people would have been all over it like ketchup and mustard on a hot dog. Okay?
Whoa, ketchup and mustard on a hot dog.
That's right.
Yeah, so the idea is never to go and attack the source of the problem, but always to attack the innocent people who you want to blame as the source of the problem, which is we're going to talk about Russia and Putin. We're not talking about the source of the problem, which is the DNC and the Democrats and the deep state.
Right.
But they're pinning it on Putin. And these two people were
Strzok
part
and
of the pinning on Putin. Now, McCabe was head of the FBI at this time. He is well known to cover this up, to change testimony, change things. Flynn was their main guy they had to get out.
Right.
They had to get out Flynn. The judge on the Flynn case, I believe, I'm going to try to get this right because gets really confusing, right?
It is very confusing.
Is friends with these two. I know he's on the FISA court.
Right.
So I'm going to read to you new text message that the FBI hid. Why don't we have these before? Because the FBI hid these from Congress on purpose. Because it shows a level of corruption. This is bigger than Watergate.
Whenever you have a cover-up, and then the cover-up is exposed.
The cover-up's almost bigger. Cover-up is even bigger than the crime, and the crime is pretty bad.
And that's what we saw with the
and these
memo.
kids haven't even been fired yet.
Do you remember what...
They need to be in jail.
That's ridiculous. Do you remember when the memo came out and the left was so worried? And they tried everything to cover up and not let that memo come out. And when it came out, we were all like, really?
We already knew
But
everything in
since
here.
you wanted to cover that up, then it must be really important. Whereas otherwise, if they had left it alone, I agree. The cover up is far more significant than what actually is in these text messages.
Right. Newly redacted text messages discovered by congressional investigators reveal that an embattled FBI agent at the center of the Russian investigation controversy was close friends with a District of Columbia judge who recused himself from the criminal case over former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn, congressional members said, and text documents show. The never-before-seen text messages, which were a part of the texts given to Congress by the Department of Justice, show that FBI agent Peter Strzok and his mistress, Lisa Page, discussed Strzok's relationship with U.S. District Court Judge Rudolph Contreras, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, who presided over a December 1st, 2017 hearing where former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn pled guilty to lying to the FBI. Strzok was removed from Robert Mueller's special counsel office last year after anti-Trump text messages between him and his FBI agent lover were discovered by the DOJ's Inspector General Michael Hurwitz. But on December 7th, without warning, Judge Rudolph was removed as the presiding judge on Flynn's case. Little information was given at that time onto why he was removed. So Mark Meadows says, we're asking the Department of Justice and the FBI to give us the documents we need to do proper oversight. In a text message chain from Page to Strzok on July 25th, 2016, remember, put this in context. We are headed into the election. We're in the middle of the summer, and things are beginning to heat up. And Trump, there might be a possibility that Trump could be president. And so these two FBI agents needed a quote-unquote insurance policy, right? Russia, blaming things on Russia was their insurance policy. Now, she writes, Rudy is on the FISA court. Did you know he was just appointed 2 months ago? At that point, the pair continues to discuss other issues, but comes back to Rudolph. I did. We talked about it before and after. I need to get together with him. Then later, Strzok appears to return to his discussion about Rudolph. He says, Page says, thought of it because you had to Google the FISA judges and him there. I'm telling you, here's the thing. She wanted to know what judges they were going to give all this false, crazy dossier information to. And they were so excited to find a friend there, right? Strzok says, she brought up a good point about being circumspect in talking to him in terms of not placing him into a situation where he'd have to recuse himself. What does that even mean? Not place him into that position. They're going to talk to him. They are going to talk to him. She says, I can't imagine either one of you could talk about anything in detail meaningful enough to warrant recusal. Page then goes back to discussing a different issue, saying, anyway, maybe you meant to, but didn't. Strzok says, really, Rudy? I'm in charge of espionage for the FBI. Any espionage FISA comes before him. What should he do, given his friend oversees them? Page says, standards for recusal are quite high. I just don't think this poses an actual conflict. Can I shut the door? Yeah. And he doesn't know what you do, ? Strzok says, generally he does know what I do. Not the level or scope or area, but he's super thoughtful and rigorous about ethics and conflicts. Redacted suggested a social setting with others would probably be better than one-on-one meeting. I'm sorry. I'm just going to have to invite you to that cocktail party. Of course, you'll be there. Have to come up with some other work people to cover for action. Paige says, why more? 6 is a perfectly fine dinner party. So we're going to meet together with this guy. I need to cover it so it doesn't look like we're talking one-on-one, but I do need to meet with him. I do need to talk to him about what's going down.
This is a really great idea. If I ever need to have a secret conversation with somebody, you just invite several other people along.
Right. So, and
sitting next to that person.
Jim Jordan and Mark Meadows, both with the House Oversight Committee, discovered the text messages during their ongoing investigation into the FBI's handling of the Trump-Russia collusion. So you literally have Mueller going all over the place. Paul Manafort, he's probably going to prison for life, had no collusion with Russia, but cooked his books. He's got like a $230 million bond because the judge said, well, he could get out of here. He knows people in high places. If this whole Russia thing hadn't happened, he'd still be free, walking free.
Right. So what just showed up? Welcome. So what? He says, I missed the first 50 minutes. We're on daylight savings time.
Sorry.
And I didn't have a way to really put that out to everybody.
I think next week we should all be on the same page.
Well, I think no, the UK
25th.
isn't until the 25th. I don't know about everyone else.
It is everybody else.
Like different?
No, everybody else is the 25th. Right?
Why
because
is it
we
different?
enacted a law a few years ago and put us back 2 weeks.
It's stupid. We should be the same as everybody else.
Well, I hate daylight savings time.
They need to get rid of it altogether.
Okay, so
Stacy says, okay, enough. Just drain the swamp and let's get these subversives out.
So why did Rudolph recuse himself, says Jordan. Text messages show he had a relationship with Strzok. Why did the DOJ make it difficult for us to get the information? To me, those are the two fundamental questions. We don't know the answers to either one of those. Jordan noted that the text messages provide some context, but that some of the communications are not completely clear. He added that what is clear is the back and forth exchange shows that Strzok and Rudolph were friends, but we don't know if the discussion regarding recusal has anything to do with Russia. Of course, in my estimation, they are definitely connected. But this is a big deal. It's all over Twitter right now. It's out there. These text messages about this judge and these two, so much fishy things. I feel like we're in an ocean. Congressional investigators told the Federalists that only 3,162 of more than 1.2 million documents retained by the DOJ Inspector General have been turned over to the committee specifically tasked with oversight of the DOJ and the FBI. So why are they stonewalling them? That's the question, right? So on Thursday, Grassley and Senator Lindsey Graham asked Attorney General Jeff Sessions to name a special prosecutor.
Okay.
So you got the Senate, the House has already done it.
Right.
Now the senators are asking to work independently with the IG to investigate the law enforcement agencies. They cannot be counted on to investigate themselves, Grassley said in an interview. If you do something wrong, you don't have the fox guard the chicken house. Here's the thing. That's like saying, hey, President Trump, would you investigate yourself on Russian collusion?
Yeah.
Would Joy Behar be okay with that?
No, probably not.
Would the left be okay with that?
Nobody cares what she thinks anyway, but yeah.
No one would be okay with that. All right, so
and it seems like, from what I'm understanding, and I guess I never really paid that much attention to it, and I should have, that the House really does try to pass a lot of really good legislation, and a lot of times it's the Senate that stops it up. It gets stopped right there.
Yeah, well,
these senators are
there's a certain amount of corruption that it takes to get into the House. And multiply that by like 100. And
that's the corruption to get into the Senate.
So, this is kind of stupid and hilarious. Mueller's new star witness against Trump is in the past caught partying at an exclusive island resort with Bill Clinton. This guy right here.
No, that's painful to watch. Oh my gosh, my eyes are on fire.
Old men, naked old men swimming in an ocean together.
Oh, jeez.
The Clintons get busted again in a never-ending saga that somehow always seems to outdo itself. This is from True Pundit. Special Counselor Robert Mueller is getting the cooperation of a Lebanese-American businessman with ties to Arab royalty in his probe of foreign influence on the Trump presidential campaign, including the possibility of a back channel between the Kremlin and the Trump transition team. George Nader testified last week to the Mueller grand jury. Mr. Nader is an advisor to the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Zayed of Abu Dhabi and a de facto ruler of the United Arab Emirates. According to the Times, Mr. Mueller is investigating whether the Emirati money found its way to the Trump campaign, which would be illegal. What about the Clintons, man? Do you know how much money is in their pockets? This sounds very official and all, but perhaps Mueller might need to ask his new star witness in the Trump investigation what he is doing partying on an exclusive island resort naked, pretty much, with Bill Clinton. Especially when the Clintons have been caught helping fund the bogus Trump dossier, which helped launch the Mueller's probe. Optics here are just bad all over. Like, no one wants to see this picture. I sincerely apologize for you having to see Bill Clinton and a bunch of half-naked men, soy boys. Here's a couple more. If you would like to puke, this is what you have to look forward to if you were a billionaire. So you don't want to be a billionaire. You don't want to hang out with these dudes. Some gay, weird orgy. You don't want to be there. Now, I missed this article. Back to the student walkout. Surprise! Guess who's actually behind the student-led walkout protest? We already talked about this. It's been exactly 1 month since the deadly school shooting, which killed 17 people in Parkland, Florida. Today,
and that was on the 14th, which is why they did it on the 14th.
Right, they did the national school walkout. But guess who organized the nationwide event? It was David Hogg. Was it David Hogg? No, it wasn't. It was, we told you before, the Women's March movement with close ties to Louis Farrakhan. And we showed you the website, but I probably should show you again the website for the Enough is Enough school walkout. So here is the Women's March actionnetwork.org. Event campaigns Enough National School Walkout. This is them. They have the same, this is the Women's March logo, Women's March Youth and Power. They have conscripted the children. It's calling for students and teachers and school administrative blah, 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 blah. Now here's the thing. These people kill babies. These people don't allow, in the Women's March, no pro-life people were allowed. Pro-life. Kill the babies in the womb. Use the babies outside the womb to grab people's guns so we can take you over.
Yeah.
This is an actual sick thing. Now, that's not the website I want to show you. So the National Walkout Day, I want to find their...
You look for that. Britt Baza tells me that police in the UK are hunting a gunman right now after a heavily pregnant woman has just been shot.
Oh, that's awful.
It's really awful.
So what I'm trying to find is...
But I thought you guys had really strict gun laws in the UK. So I don't understand how a criminal could get a hold of a gun.
Have they literally taken over the whole website? And I believe that they have. So let's see if they had shirts and stuff. Let's see if this is... No, this is different. They had other shirts. So this is a second website. I'm trying to find David Hogg had a website and they may have taken it down, but they had special shirts. But this is another website for them. This is Women's March Enough. So what they've done on the Google search, which is telling enough.
Right.
When I put a National Walkout Day official website.
Then they send you to the Women's March.
They are sending you to the Women's March site, whereas when it first happened... When it first happened, it sent you to their own little website that they had put together. But I guess it wasn't cool enough for them.
No.
So this is definitely taken over by the Women's March. Totally.
You know what, little children? Just come to us at the Women's March website. Right. We will take care of everything. We have the means. We have the funds. We have all the technology. And we will handle it all for you. But it's still your thing.
Dude, I'm on page 4 and I still can't find their official website that the kids that supposedly the kids put together with the t-shirts that teachers printed out 2 days ahead of time.
Right.
So that's not...
Chris has a good point. He says it replaces the fear of the event with the sensation of a mother's touch and blocks the memory from returning and causing distress. Good point.
Very true. This is kind of funny. I'm just going to give you this tidbit.
We're going back to Louis Farrakhan again.
So, well, one of these chicks is like highly in. She goes to his marches.
What is
one of the
name?
Women's March
I try to avoid remembering. It's not Linda Sarsour. It's the other one. It's the black one.
So people are coming down hard on Louis Farrakhan now. I guess the Nation of Islam is lashing back at 3 members of Congress who have denounced its leader. In an open letter on the group's website, Representatives Gregory Meeks, Barbara Lee, and Denny Davis, who have disavowed Farrakhan's anti-Semitic and racist rhetoric, are accused of being sellouts to Farrakhan's critics, derided as satanic Jews, and the Nation of Islam leader is compared to Jesus Christ. Remember, it was the same satanic Jews of yesterday that conspired against Jesus. This is Islam. It's Christian Islam. This nation, here's this Nation of Islam. So here is their official letter.
It's creepy.
We are writing this open letter to express our deep disappointment with your published announcements of the Honorable Minister, no, liar, on behest of the Republican Jewish Coalition, the Anti-Defamation League, and others. Goes on, an open letter to, in his open letter to black leadership dated July 19th, 2010, Minister Farrakhan wrote to you in part, whenever the light of truth has been shown on them, they reach for you to defend them against the truth that uncovers the horror that has been done to us. They have always been successful, pitting us against each other, thus keeping them from facing the truth, blah, blah, blah. When would you condemn me as an anti-Semite for exposing the research that shows them as being anti-black? If you become an apologist for them in this hour, you will be seen by the masses of our people as a modern-day Uncle Tom, who believes you owe more to them than to the masses of our suffering people. If you attack me at their insistence, you will be seen as an enemy of the rise of our people, as well as an enemy of your rise. The masses of our people are awakening and increasingly angry at the reality of our condition. Most of you are afraid to face such a formidable and powerful enemy, so I implore you to stand to the side and let them come out and defend themselves and argue against the truth that we speak and write. Remember, it was the same satanic Jews of yesterday that conspired against Jesus and had him killed by the ruling authority of the Roman Empire. They hated Jesus because he told the truth. Jesus was ridiculed, falsely charged, lied on, evil spoken of, and called a hater and a bigot. He who does not learn the lessons of history is doomed to repeat them. Resist the devil and he will flee. So this is such a satanic message he has put together here.
They quoted from James.
Yeah, they're Islam. Now here's the thing. Newsflash, Jesus was Jewish.
Yeah. They
Lion
always want to forget
of the
that.
tribe of Judah. Matthew, what was he?
Jewish.
Mark?
Jewish.
Luke?
Jewish.
John?
Jewish.
Peter?
Jewish. Paul.
Jude.
Be Jewish.
John, the Revelator.
John the Revelator.
What was he?
Jewish.
Jewish. God wants everybody to come back. Even the Jewish people.
Especially the Jewish people. Y'all people haven't watched my video. I'm going to go grab it.
Here's the thing. If you actually have read the New Testament, which you can't hate the Jews if you've read the New Testament.
Yeah.
Because it's decidedly Jewish. From Matthew to Revelation.
Right.
It's Jewish.
Yep.
And Jesus is the fulfillment of the Old Testament.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to be able to tell Jewish people that.
Mm-hmm.
And if you hate on them, then you're not going to go anywhere. Now, here's the thing. There are evil Jews. We talk about this all the time.
And you know what? We did an interview with John B. Wells from Caravan to Midnight. Not last night, but the night before. It'll be up. And he's told me that he's going to be able to get us a link that I'm going to try to get to you guys. If we had a website, it would be easier. But regardless, he said, I like to call them false Jews.
False Jews. All right.
Okay.
They are false Jews. Because I tell you what. Get this. Why are we in the mess that we're in? Did you know that some German Jews came over in like 1918 from the Frankfurt School in Germany? This is really true. You can look it up. They were called the Frankfurt School. Herbert Marcuse was part of it.
Right.
They didn't believe in God. They were physically Jewish, but they didn't believe in the God of the Old Testament. They didn't believe in the Torah. They didn't follow the stories. They didn't follow Passover. They didn't love God. They did not believe that they were atheists. Atheist Jews will turn their back on you and shoot you in the head.
True.
Jewish Jews. Sorry, Sydney's trying to get up on the couch here. You can finish my
Jewish Jews will not. They actually, we know them. Real people that are Jewish, that love God. They really do love God. They just don't know they need Jesus in order to get to him. They appreciate Christianity. We have run into Jews that are hostile to Christianity, okay? I can't deal with those people. But most Jews that we run into
Right.
are always like, you know what? It's almost patronizing, and I can deal with patronizing.
Mm-hmm.
You think you serve our God. I mean, you do. We'll throw Jesus out. But you serve the same God we do.
They've gone through a lot of reformations. Some of our very best friends are Jewish, Reformed Jewish people. We've been part of their Passovers.
Yeah.
We have wonderful spiritual conversations with them. They're just beautiful, awesome people. There are a lot of crazy, liberal, whacked out Jews, and we have conservative friends who are Jewish. So I'm actually blessed, thank God, to have these friends, so they have a different perspective. But anyways, Farrakhan is an anti-Semite. He's an anti-white person, by the way. If you just don't like it, if you
he's racist.
He's a racist.
He is racist. He's a bigot.
Yeah.
He doesn't like homosexuals. He believes they all should be killed. He doesn't.
But that's what I was getting at. Sorry, I remembered. The New Testament, Paul talks about the fact that yes, he was sent to the Gentiles, but that if you read Hebrews, the idea is we're fulfilling the law. We all want to come together now.
Yeah.
So things like that. I'm going to move on. Now, this is highly disturbing. So what? This is bad. So what? Listen to this story. Have you heard this story? I'm sure you have been on Breitbart London. German court forces the Volkswagen to rehire Islamic extremists fired for a alleged terrorist threat. What is this? This is what is happening. See, we don't have a bomb problem. We don't have a gun problem. We don't have a knife problem. We have an ideology problem. And we have a police force problem that aren't dealing with people who are making threats. You cannot make threats.
Right.
Here's the thing. They are jailing people for saying anything against Islam. And yet, if you literally...
So What says I made a video about that.
Okay. See So What's video, he probably did it much better in a much better accent. So you literally... See, here's the thing. Laws are set up. You cannot make threats against someone.
Right.
Period. End of story. So people are making threats. I'm going to kill all the Muslims. Lock them up. Lock them up.
Yeah.
You can't make threats to people's lives.
And seriously, if you people in our chat start saying stuff like that, y'all should be locked up too. That we don't make threats against people. You let God take care of that and the authorities. It's that simple.
Well, and you can come to people's defense, right?
Very true.
So this Volkswagen has been forced to rehire.
It was in part 3 of my live stream. I know that article.
Thank you. So what? Maybe if you put, I don't know if you can put your link in the chat, people can see that. Forced to rehire a known radical Islamic extremist who they had previously fired because they feared he might commit a terror attack on the factory. So what happens is we know these guys are happening. We know these guys are volcanoes ready to erupt. And the police have the ability to stop the volcanoes from erupting.
Ticking time bomb.
Ticking time bombs. But they don't do it. Same thing happened in Parkland. We just saw what happened with the Muslim kid slitting people's...
Well, he wasn't Muslim, but he was the wannabe.
Wannabe Muslim. So this 30-year-old took his case to court where judges have ordered the manufacturer to give him his job back because they could not demonstrate he was a reasonable threat to other employees. Here's the thing. He was known to travel in extremist circles in Wolfsburg and had been pictured alongside members of an Islamic State cell which had traveled to fight for the terror group in Syria. Samir was even accused of driving them to the airport when they left. In 2014, Samir was stopped by officials at Hanover Airport who claimed he wanted to travel to Syria by himself with just under 10,000 euros in cash. In Wolfsburg, the 30-year-old was also involved in distributing radical Islamic propaganda leaflets, but most notably, he told other employees at the car plant, "You will all die," which prompted the company to rightfully fire him.
And somehow that's not enough for the courts to say he shouldn't come back?
Volkswagen says, "I will pay you $65,000 if you just go away." And he's suing instead to get his job back because he wants to commit his terror attack.
And So What says, and of course he had a full beard. That's not a really good German, but it's best I can do.
In early 2016, 30 Muslim men with traditional Arabic names were fired from Geneva Airport after a threat of terrorism. In March of that year, Islamic radicals attacked Brussels Airport, killing 32 civilians and injuring 300. One of the attackers was revealed to have worked at the airport for several years.
Stacy says she has to go. Do you want to know why Stacy has to go? Because she's got 500 tomatoes to plant.
Wow. Awesome.
Go, Stacy, go. Go get them, girl.
All right, now we're moving on to Telford again because this We have to keep bringing light to this. Now, this is highly disturbing. Are you ready for this?
It makes me so mad. Just saying the word Telford makes me angry already.
A police memo said Telford girls consented to sex abuse with the groomers.
Huh?
Police officers investigating the Telford grooming gang scandal, possibly the largest in UK history, were sent an internal memo telling them, don't worry, in most cases, the sex is consensual. Now, it's okay for teenage prostitutes in the UK because maybe these policemen use them.
Do you know what? If you are holding drugs or something else like that over a little child or even just mental control, it's not consensual. And if they're too young to consent, then it's not consensual.
Here's the thing.
This is my angry face.
Nobody really consents.
I'm getting red.
Nobody really consents to be a prostitute. And I know the age of consent is like 16 in the UK, but you've got to come up with something that that prostitution is not consensual until you're like mid-20s, at least in the form of prosecuting people.
I think I can do a good so what here. He says, consensual sex with children? Was that a good so what?
That was
I mean, seriously, no, it's not consensual if they're children.
The initial police probe, Operation Chalice, identified at least 100 potential victims in Telford targeted between 2007 and 2009. However, fewer than 10 men were jailed, despite the police admitting as many as 200 groomers may be involved. This is a key that I want everyone to understand, that just dawned on me, and I haven't said this out loud to you guys. Not only are the groomers still on the street, but the thousands of men who paid for these children to have sex with them are still on the street. So if you're in Telford, the odds are you know somebody who paid these children for sex. 200 groomers, thousands of men who did this. They all need to be in jail. All of them.
If I had gaskets, they'd be... I mean, right now, I'm not even kidding. So it says they abused 11-year-old girls.
West Mersop police sent the memo the year after Chalice was closed. The officers investigating ongoing child sexual exploitation in the Force area, the Mirror reports. Officers also considered some of the young victims as prostitutes. Commenting on the revelations, UKIP London Assembly member David Curtin blasted, Telford police memo on children consenting to abuse is despicable.
Hang on, though. Pause right there with the thing, with the prostitution thing. All right? These girls that have come out that are saying this happened to me, okay? I don't care if you are a prostitute. If you're in a room with a dude that's paying you for sex and you say, no, I don't want it. If you're in a room with 5 guys that are going to pull you to the side and rape you and then pay you for it, you're not a prostitute. You are allowed to say that you were raped, even if you are at the very moment.
But here's the thing. Is prostitution legal in the UK? Because it's not legal here.
No, it's not legal in the UK. Is it legal? Can't be legal. Britt says, in the UK, we do have a statutory rape charge for under 16, but it is rarely used.
You guys have weird views in Europe on children having sex. Like in France, 11-year-old consented. 14-year-old consented, 12-year-old consented, 9-year-old consented. Europe, y'all need help.
Hang on, not our people.
Europe
so what
needs
says,
help.
and the police laughed at these girls, I would jail them all.
Gangs and their child-abusing customers that groom, rape, and pimp out girls under 16 are rapists. If the police do not know this, they are not fit for the purpose. No. An 18th-month probe by journalists published last weekend found that 1,000 girls could have been targeted over 40 years by as many as 70 groomers. They were allegedly drugged, raped, and trafficked, and 5 deaths has been linked to the abuse. 5 deaths, but no convictions on these murders, by the way. Some of the victims were just 11 years old, and one is known to have given birth at just 14. Given birth at 14, meaning 13 when she was raped.
It's rape if the child is 13. I don't care if she said yes. I don't care. I don't care.
This victim blaming is at its worst, and authorities just don't seem to get it. Children cannot agree to have sex. Just because a child is not being physically forced to carry out sexual acts, it doesn't mean that they consented. Mr. Nitrovelli, of the firm Bolt, Bird & Kemp, added many of these children will have been groomed and manipulated by their abusers and would have been threatened to keep silent.
Okay, so they are telling me it's 16 for the UK and 16 with parental consent in Germany. Think you worth a look.
But what about prostitution? Is it legal?
I don't know. Sharon says, I find it incredible that these things must be explained. That they have to be reasoned as why it's evil boggles my mind. Me too, Sharon.
The media have also been slammed for turning a blind eye when reporting the death of a 16-year-old Lucy Lowe at the hands of her 26-year-old abuser in 2001. The BBC chose to describe the victim as the rapist's girlfriend. The BBC was days late reporting on the recent revelations, according to Tory MP Lucy Allen, accusing the corporation of not standing up for the white working class. So we covered Lucy Allen, who is doing a fantastic job getting the information out there. Now,
so what says prostitution is legal at the age of 18 in Germany?
Y'all are cray-cray. There are certain things you shouldn't be allowed to sell. I'm just saying.
Drugs is one of them.
Which is so hilarious. Prostitution is legal, but saying anything against Islam will get you imprisoned. This is. I was thinking about this. I was outside because we work, we do things. We're outside.
Britt Baza says prostitution in the UK is illegal, but authorities turn a blind eye in certain areas. That same thing happens here in the United States. We're going back to this.
Yeah, because.
Hi, Jasper.
But just a second. I was outside thinking about this whole thing in the UK and in Europe and thinking about these prostitutions and these grooming gangs. And I was thinking about the liberals silencing everyone, silencing us on Twitter, silencing us on YouTube. We were on Caravan to midnight, and we told him about our Resistance Chicks channel. And he saw, we only got 2,500 subscribers on that channel, and he's like, "Wow, well, you guys should have more numbers." And we're like, "Well, this is our second channel. It got put in the YouTube basement. We're just glad that people followed us over from Mass Bay 3 to the Resistance Chicks."
Well, he was actually also looking at both channels, and he was looking at the views on the videos, and he's like, "I'm looking at this content, and this is real meat." For people to be consuming, and the views just are not there.
And I told him we just have been doing everything that we can to try to get around that algorithm, because we started out, one of our first videos in a week or two had 75,000 views. But then we got flagged, and Resistance Chicks was flagged first. And we had a Tim Allen video that got thousands of views, Maxine Water videos. We were getting thousands of subscribers. We barely edged into 10,000 subscribers in 6 months. Seriously, we should be up there. You guys should have more friends. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because, God is in control. But everybody's been cut down, and there's an article out that shows the web traffic.
Right.
That shows that Facebook, it's as suppressed conservative sites by 43%.
Huge.
And liberal sites have gone up by 2%.
Okay.
So basically negligible effects on any liberal sites.
Right.
And we've noticed that on Resistance Chicks. We don't say anything. We had 900 people at one point. Now we have 1,500 or something like that on Facebook. But when we had 900 people, we were reaching 900,
it tells
1,000,
us
1,200 people.
Yeah, on there.
We were reaching,
say how many people have seen what you posted.
We were reaching more people than followed us.
Right.
And that reach has gone down. And then I noticed something today. As soon as we banned those lefties, our reach went down. So somehow there's an algorithm to where, if you have pro-Palestinian people on there and lefties.
Hang on, so that people understand, we don't ban people lightly. They have to become a real nuisance.
Personal attacks. You don't need to be on my page.
I don't care what you can totally disagree, but when you start saying you ladies are just stupid,
Nazis or whatever,
yeah.
So I noticed that we were reaching 800 or 900 people,
right,
on a regular basis, and I banned about 10 people who were going out of control.
Crazy.
And then the reach went down. And it doesn't matter to me, but
it is evidence of their censorship. It's evidence
that if you are conservative, and I'm guessing they look at who did you ban. Mm-hmm. You banned these liberal people. You banned the pro-Palestinian people. You banned the Nazi hating people. So, a legal alien acquitted of murdering Kate Steinle sues the feds for vindictive prosecution. He killed someone. And somehow that prosecution was vindictive. Jose Garcia Zarate, the illegal alien acquitted last year of murdering 32-year-old Kate Steinle in July 2015, has sued the federal government. demanding that it produce documents pertaining to vindictive prosecution and collusion with the state government in its prosecution against him. In November, San Francisco jury found him not guilty, agreeing that although he had the gun from which the fatal shot was fired, the discharge could have been accidental.
Really?
The jury did convict him of felony possession of a weapon, and he had 7 previous felony convictions and had to be deported 5 times before finding sanctuary on the streets of San Francisco.
Because they're sanctuaries.
The federal government immediately issued a warrant for Garcia Zarati's arrest for violating the terms of his 2015 federal prison release. It then charged him with federal crimes for being a felon in possession of a firearm and ammunition, and for being an illegally present alien in possession of a firearm and ammunition.
Here's the thing. If you've been in a federal prison and you have the gun to a murder that happened.
He had several federal convictions. Deported 5 times.
You don't get to say it accidentally went off.
Nope.
That's not your prerogative.
No.
You don't get to say that.
No.
Prosecution can pursue you with the heaviest weight of the law, and it is not vindictive, mister. I got a history as long as my arm. Come on. This is ridiculous.
So, we're going to end with Putin's interview.
No, we're not. We started talking about McMaster.
We're not done yet. I'm just saying that we are going to end there.
There's
so
going to be a long
with us.
show. Oh, I thought it said 2 hours. Oh, okay, we got plenty of time.
No,
good.
I'm just saying we're going to end with Putin and
watch
Megyn Kelly.
it.
So
easy with the
you
fighting.
understand that in the middle of a show, sometimes you do an advertisement to get people to stay? Like,
oh, yeah. Here's what's coming.
Right.
Putin, Megyn Kelly, McMaster. I want to talk about Theresa May and what's going on with Russia there. We're going to...
By the way, we're celebrating St. Patty's Day. It's tomorrow.
Right. All right. So the comments here are cracking me up. The sex before marriage, it just kind of steamrolled. No sex before marriage. You guys are hilarious, and I love you.
All right.
But, wait, St. Patrick's Day.
Tomorrow.
Sunday. I saw you guys in the chat. InfoWars is going to be streaming live from Speaker's Corner, and Tommy Robinson is going to be reading the speech of Martin Sellner that he was supposed to deliver. Martin Sellner and what's her name?
Brittany Pettibone.
We're not allowed into the UK. He was going to deliver this speech. A lot of you guys are asking if we're going to cover that live. I think it's happening at 3:00. Their time, so probably not. But at that point, we will be able to bring you some highlights for
9 o'clock our time.
Yeah. No, it's not 9 o'clock our time, dude.
10, 11,
it's 11 o'clock our time. They'll be 4 hours ahead.
4 hours ahead. 4 hours ahead because of time change. Right. Okay.
9 o'clock wasn't anywhere close.
No,
but that's all right.
We'll see. As the Lord leads.
My point is, I don't think we'll be streaming that live because we're going to be doing our regular show with you guys at 1 o'clock. But we'll probably bring some highlights that will be available, I'm sure.
Right.
At that point.
White Canadian Day apologize for having unfairly benefited from their skin color in the schools. This is from the Superintendent of Schools, Teresa Downs. I have unfairly benefited from the color of my skin. White privilege is not acceptable.
You know what, Teresa? I've got Mozart. I think that he kind of benefited from his music talents, and I don't think that's right. Seriously, anything that you are born with, if you benefit from it, you can't.
He was deaf talent. He was deaf privileged.
I mean, seriously. Well, he wasn't deaf the whole time.
I know, but still.
My point is, we all have things that we benefit from being born. Lungs are one of them. I benefit from my lungs, and that's okay.
This woman, she looks like a Nazi. So I just want to throw this out there. The people who are saying white privilege are very racist because they literally think that they walk around as better than everyone else.
Right.
I do not. And I am sick. I am sick this year because I have seen, unfortunately, black people buy into this.
I know.
And it's all over the internet. And they all think Trump is racist. And they think Republicans are racist because they must listen what's on TV. And sometimes when you're a victim, or you think you're a victim, then you stay down in the bottom. And we have wonderful black people who are in the conservative movement, Red Pill Black, Larry Elder, Alan B. West, C.J. Pearson, who are sane. And they realize that they have been welcomed in to the Republican Party with open arms, with everybody saying, you know that we, as a group, fought and died for you people. Thank you for coming. Thank you. We have been waiting for you.
Right.
We want you with us.
Well, the talking point that I really appreciate that a lot of them give is, like you just said, when you espouse white privilege, when you say that it's a thing as a black person, what you're saying is that white people are able to keep you down.
Yeah.
And that
white people are better than you.
Exactly. And it's like,
Born
and these other black people are like, I find the phrase white privilege incredibly offensive. And as a white person, I find it offensive for black people.
But I'm asking the Lord to fix this thing, because before the election, I didn't feel this racism. I didn't feel this division.
No.
But the more we talk about it, and what did...
You know what, though? I did start to feel it during the past few years of Barack Obama's presidency.
With the Black Lives Matter.
They were hitting it so hard to
causing
create the
hatred
division.
to rise up. Yeah, and create division that wasn't there before. Humans are really good at learning from their past mistakes and moving on and things like that. And we had a civil rights movement. It's kind of like, forgive, forget, let's move on. What did Martin Luther King Jr. say? I want to live in a world where you're judged by the color. We're not judged by the color of skin, but the content of your character.
Right.
What we want to do is see color lines blurred, and you have a room full of people, and you see who they are inside.
Right. Well, and I can't make a whole segment on this today because we have so much to cover, but I do want to hit on, because you guys put it in the chat, that Paul Golding was attacked in prison by Muslims.
Yeah.
And I want to tie that into this because his white privilege didn't help him any. As a matter of fact, his conservative views and his Christianity were a detriment.
Right.
Okay? In prison, the ones that have the privilege are the biggest thugs.
Right.
And it doesn't matter. And in prison, Tommy tweeted out and said, I have to think that allowing Paul Golding to be imprisoned with other Muslims is the UK's wish that he gets killed.
Absolutely.
In prison.
Absolutely.
But his white privilege didn't save him there, did it?
Because they knew that he needed to be in a separate solitary confinement, even almost for his own safety.
Right.
So I'm really excited on other news on Sunday to share with you guys. Hopefully I can find it. The interview with Tommy Robinson and one of the lords who stood up. Yeah. And he actually asked Tommy to come and interview him in the House of Lords, and everybody was all upset about it.
Right.
And you do have some sane people left of the British aristocracy, and it's nice to see.
Worth a Look says the last time someone was sent to prison for putting bacon on a mosque door, he was dead within a year in prison by Muslims. I didn't know that guy died.
Wow.
Thank you for that.
Wow. That's awful. So school administrators in British Columbia are trying to fight racism by posting a series of white shaming posters on school walls in an effort to educate students on the evils of white privilege. The posters, based on a similar Billboard A campaign mounted last summer in Saskatoon. No, Saskatoon. Saskatoon. Bear messages encouraging students to confront racism and not to be blind to the invisible system I am part of. Caucasian people, the campaign suggests, even if not racist themselves, still benefit from, quote, white privilege, and thus apparently need to atone for the inherent injustice of their race. I have unfairly benefited from the color of my skin, declares Superintendent of Schools Teresa Down on one poster. White privilege is not acceptable. Rather than play down the importance of race, in favor of common humanity, Miss Downs and her comrades in arms believe it is critical for students and citizens to become not less but more race conscious. And this is where racism actually comes into play. I posted this on our Facebook page, and I'm like, here's the thing. If you put like up rainbows and be like, we're all God's children, and then those pictures with all those hand colors, we're all the same, right?
Yeah. No, these people want to exemplify the differences. You different, you different, you different, you different. Why can't we focus less on race? That's the whole point. My entire life, this whole thing is flip-flopped. Because when I was a kid, that's what we were taught.
Right.
Okay? We were taught to not see the color of skin. Right. Now all we're taught is you have to see the color of someone's skin because you have to treat them.
When you wake up in the morning and you look in the mirror and you're white, you say, I have white privilege today.
It's like, as white people, we're supposed to be, I'm going to make a handout sheet, okay, of handicaps for how I should judge people based on the color of the skin. I see an Asian person, okay, you got a handicap. I'm going to view you a little bit better than I thought because you're Asian. Oh, I see a black person. I better view you a little bit better than I thought because you get a handicap too, because obviously you're lower. This is absolutely ridiculous.
Asians don't get a handicap. Asians are smarter than everybody else.
Mexican, whatever you are. No, there's no handicap. Everybody is supposed to just be equal. They don't need a handicap to get there. And that's the problem that I have with this white privilege rhetoric that says that somehow white people are at like this 10-point scale and they need to have 8 points knocked off of them. And then the black people are at like 2 and they need to be given 8 points. It's stupid. We are all the same. This is ridiculous.
I'll tell you what I told Michelle and I were discussing this. It's funny because we don't want people to feel sorry for us at all. But we grew up in an abusive household with our dad.
Everybody's got a story. This is just ours.
Abusive person, and our grandma, who we ended up moving in to take care of, she was an alcoholic, and we moved in with her, and she was just a hard woman, and she drank and cussed and smoked, and just really hard to be around grandma. I actually took my dad to court in 3rd grade to not go see him anymore because I was so afraid that of being around him. He would yell. I mean, he just treated us like not awesome.
You know who has privilege? People with money. It's that simple. That is what it comes down to. That is what it boils down to. There were black slave owners back in the day.
They were.
And they were privileged because they had money.
Would they get reparations if they came down from black slave
Apparently.
Owners? So, but here's the thing. We had a pretty hard life growing up, but only because my mom didn't toe the line.
Right.
If she had stayed married to my dad in an abusive relationship, we would have been very white privileged, very upper class privileged.
Because of money.
Because our grandfather, my dad's dad, started a couple companies. He became incredibly wealthy. He built the largest house at the time in our entire county. It had wings. Huge wings. I mean,
like in a movie where you can just be on a completely other end of the house.
Let me just put it this way.
Every potty had 2 potties.
Every toilet had 2 toilets, one for the bidet. Right?
And that is not right. No one should use
that. So
stuff.
It's, you go to these parade of homes, it's bigger than that.
Yeah.
It's just huge.
I guarantee you.
It's sickeningly huge.
95% of you have never been in a house this big.
Right. Yeah. So, anyways, but we lived in government housing.
With roaches.
And what we lived a double life, right? So our mom would try to put us in our best clothes to go to dad's on the weekend. And then we came back to roaches. And our mom worked 3 jobs and all these different things. But despite all of that, despite my dad yelling at me for being homeschooled, saying I'm going to get the cops and blah, 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 and me not wanting to go see him, he'd bring the cops, come, all this stuff, all this crazy stuff. Dad throw mom on the bed and bruised my brother's arm and almost breaking it. So all these things. Michelle and I are more privileged than probably 99% of people in the world.
Yes.
Today.
Yes.
And why is that?
Because our mama loved Jesus.
Because our mom not only loved Jesus, but she loved us with the love of God. And constantly, even in the midst of this pain, so we're in the midst of this turmoil, we're crying at night, and she come in and say her prayers, and we're working through this stuff. But she helped us work through this stuff. Right? When we were kids. And she would always tell us, not you can be anything you want to be.
Right.
You can do anything God calls you to do. And we would read those Bible stories. And when we read Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, she would look at us and she says, that is you.
I pictured myself in the fire furnace. When I was a child, I was convinced if anybody threw me in a fiery furnace, Jesus going to be walking around, I'm going to walk out unsinged.
We got put in situations that we were able to conquer because of the power of God and the love of God that our mom put in us. It doesn't mean that our life was not easy. We were fighting our entire lives. However, and I'm not saying the struggle made us stronger. That's not true. You don't chop somebody's hand off and say, oh, you're going to be stronger. That's not how this works. But in the midst of the fiery furnace, nobody says, hey, Daniel, you happy to go down in the lion's den? He would rather not go. But that God might be glorified, he went, and God was glorified. So Christians don't go into situations that are like, I'm not going in the fiery furnace on purpose, right? I ain't going there. But God can bring you out of the situations. So if anybody who is literally loved by anyone in their life, loved with the love of God, and told to follow God, and taught to follow God, and set on a path that will lead them to health.
Yeah.
They are more privileged than anybody else, regardless of your skin color, regardless of how much money you have.
Right.
I know my aunt who was half brother, half sister with my uncles. She was probably one of the most beautiful people you ever met. She had these
those
green eyes. She was a model. She was just did not look like us, but I mean,
no. She had big eyes, the kind of Egyptian
really
looking.
tall. We all had the same Svensson hands and shoulders. She was, she's Swedish. She's beautiful, but she died of cirrhosis of the liver because she was abused as a child. I don't want to go into that, but she was abused as a child in that family, and she drank herself to death. She had more money than she ever needed. She was at the height of white privilege,
right?
But she was abused and she was just messed up, and she drank herself to death. So she had the beauty, she had the money, she had everything,
right?
But she drank herself to death. She was so broken in the brain. That's what I'm trying to say. She was not loved by one person. I can tell you this for sure, for a fact. No one ever in her life loved her with the love of God. Ever. Not one person. My mom maybe talked to her a few times, but couldn't love her with the love of God. So,
hang on. I'm really glad that you went on this tangent, though, because I had kind of an experience last night watching that documentary. What was it called again?
Guys, you've got to see this documentary. Ivan from IPP TV, the Poland guy, sent this to us. You all should just watch it tonight. It's
called Innocence Betrayed. I put the link in the description. I also put it in the chat a little bit ago. Innocence Betrayed, the true story of gun control. Now, really what it is it's the last 100 years of genocide in the world.
Because of gun control.
I had a thought last night. I don't get very much time to write in my journal these days, pretty much ever since Resistance Chick started. I don't have time to do that. But I did last night because I was so impressed. It was impressed upon my spirit is what I want to say. I watched a documentary that was very, very difficult to watch because you see these people tortured. You see them. Joseph Stalin literally starved these people to death.
The Ukrainians. The United Nations and everybody praised Russia for being this great communist country.
Right.
And starved the people and actually let the grain rot in the Ukraine.
Yeah.
Starved the people on purpose to kill them.
And then exported the grain to look like
extra grain to look
like they were, a mighty country. My heart breaks for what has happened to these people in the past. My heart used to just break for the people that suffered in the Holocaust. I can't watch anything that has to do with World War II. Literally, it makes me sick to my stomach. I cannot watch it. I won't. But a lot of this was in that exact same vein because we have tyrannical dictators.
People literally starving. The same pictures that you see in Auschwitz.
Yeah.
They're starved down to the bones.
They're killed. They are tortured. Every bit of humanity is stripped away. And this was what I wrote in my journal because this was the exact thought that I had. God, why me? Out of the millions and billions of people that have lived throughout history, why was I born to the family that I was born to, in the time that I was born in the society that I was born in? Because you could have just as easily been born 100 years ago,
and Stalin's regime, Cambodia.
Your soul could have gone into that body. I don't believe in reincarnation. There's one soul for every person. Okay. Why me? Why am I not born into a godless society? And I don't have the answer for that. I literally don't have the answer for that, but it really brought a reality check to me in that moment. And I want to encourage you guys with this. I don't care what problem you have. And we all have problems. And I go through it and you go through it. We all have ups and downs and we have depression and whatever. Okay? Your soul was put into your body. And no matter how much you have suffered, you did not suffer like those people, okay? And you have the chance to know the truth. A lot of these people didn't even get a chance to know the truth, okay? A lot of them were fighting. Their weapons were taken from them, and they fought with farm tools because they were farmers. They didn't stand a chance.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
Bring it back to, you know what? The black people right now are privileged. The Mexicans down in Mexico right now, compared to that stuff, are privileged. I don't care who you are. If you are born in some sort of Western society, regardless of the color of your skin, you're dang privileged.
Right.
Okay? So the next time you have some problems, maybe bring it back to, you know what? I wasn't born a Jew in Nazi Germany. How about that? Be excited about that. Let that carry through the rest of your life. Okay, carry on with the news.
So I want to just kind of give you an update here on the London 2 bomber. So it says he had a duty to hate Britain. Islamic State trained Iraqi asylum seeker guilty of London 2 bomb. A teenage Iraqi asylum seeker who told police he had been trained by the Islamic State group was convicted of attempted murder on Friday for planting a homemade bomb on the London subway train.
Okay.
Ahmed Hassan, 18, showed no emotion. He actually said that he built the bomb, but he didn't expect it to go off. He just wanted to start a fire and then be a fugitive. It was a fantasy of his.
Well, but it's kind of like having sex without protection. You know what could happen.
Well, the police say that it should have killed more people. It just didn't go off right. Prosecutors said Hassan built the device from everyday ingredients following instructions he found online. He ordered hydrogen peroxide and other chemicals to make the explosive, and he bought nuts, bolts, and knives for shrapnel at supermarkets. And then he set a timer and left the bomb. British authorities have been criticized for failing to foresee that Hassan, who had shown signs of depression and trauma, might act violently. During a January 2016 immigration interview, he told officials that he was recruited by ISIS in Iraq and forced to train with them. And they trained us how to kill. It was all religious based. In court, Hassan claimed that he had made up the claim about ISIS to increase his chances of getting asylum into Britain. He told a teacher at his college that he had a duty to hate Britain because he blamed it for the bomb that killed his father in Iraq more than a decade before. The teacher referred him to the Prevent and the government-run de-radicalization program. Does that
I love
even
that
work?
there is a de-radicalization program. Do we have a de-radicalization program in the United States?
I don't know. All right, so you want to... I'm going to go to this Putin interview. But you want to talk about Theresa May and the Russian insanity there.
Here's the thing. I mean, I think most of you are probably well aware of the nerve gas agent that was, and forgive me for not knowing these people's names. They're Russian. I could pull them up, but it's not, to me, it's not that important.
Right.
I mean, I know it's important. Their lives are important, but I think you understand what I'm saying. Right. So the guy he was an ex-Russian spy. He was actually a triple agent. Okay. Which is why apparently they're saying that the Russians killed him. The nerve agent, gas agent, was meant to kill just him, and it ended up affecting his daughter as well.
And
she was there.
Other people were hospitalized.
Theresa May and the entire British government has come out.
The entire world.
And the entire world has come out with this massive, that's it. It's enough. We're all going against Russia now. She's removed, I think she started out with 4 diplomats and then got rid of another 23 diplomats on top of those 4. So 27 diplomats because she said that she said this in her speech, that all 23 diplomats were discovered to have these ties to the spy agency. Like seriously, every single one of the diplomats that they got rid of. Okay, espionage is the word I was looking for. Okay, so they're taking they're introducing sanctions. She's upset because she said, listen, either the Russian government did it because the agent had, the gas agent had a Russian signature, meaning it was, which is ridiculous. How did they have these? I mean, it was a Russian recipe, but it was, okay, the Russians made it.
Why would Putin use a nerve gas agent that is known only to Russians?
They're saying so that Russians. It would send a message to any other rogue spies that they really wanted them to know this was the Russian government. We did it, and we have 7 waves from Sunday of taking you out if you turn on us. That's the argument that is being portrayed.
In the midst of everything anti-Russia. Ain't no way they did this. Ain't no way that they did this. Putin is not, one thing he is not, and he is not necessarily America's friend.
He's not stupid.
But he is not stupid. come on. This would have to, this is a Kim Jong-il thing. Okay? If he did. All right? You send a message, you send a guy in with a gun or something, not with only the chemical weapon that only can be had in Russia. Now, here's the thing. We were talking about this on IPPP TV, and they are rightfully so scared of Russia.
And they should be.
Russia barely is out of their country. They're still alive, but, people are still adults that had to grow up under communism. And
thanks to Russia.
Thanks to Russia. I mean, it's horrible history there with Poland and Russia. Communism, horrible history. But you have half the people in Russia who want to come out of communism and half the people want to stay. You have a deep state in Russia like you have a deep state in the United States. But does that mean that you blame all the Russians and the entire Russian government for something? That's like blaming the United States for ISIS. Which, yeah, we blame Obama. You have to put specific crimes on specific people.
Right. You can't just blame all of Russia. A, it's huge. But B, there are a lot of communist holdovers that are still in the government there.
Russia is weak.
Right.
We're talking about this. Russia is not strong.
Right.
They're strong in that
they're not trying to go to war.
Going organic. They're causing their citizens to become farmers. They're giving away free land to farm. That's unheard of under communism, by the way. Right? You don't give away land and then say, oh, here's land. Do what you want and farm it. Blah, blah, blah. That's not communist. So we have to look at the different areas in which Russia isn't communist anymore.
So what she said was either they deliberately did it,
right,
or through negligence, they let this highly deadly nerve gas agents slip away from their hands. Now, I have to tell you, as I was listening to this exchange in Parliament, I had a lot of questions as she was speaking. And then Jeremy Corbyn gets up. And I almost shut it off. But I thought, okay, I want to know what Corbyn is saying, because whatever he's saying, I want to believe the opposite because the dude is a liar. I was highly disturbed that all of the questions that he asked were the same ones that I had. Okay? And that is, what kind of investigation has been carried forward? She said that they had cut off all communications practically with any high-level officials from the UK and any high-level officials in the Russian government. When Jeremy Corbyn asked, the Russians had asked to examine this nerve agent gas themselves, and I guess they haven't let them do that. So when he asks this question, everybody in Parliament groans like, oh, how dare you? No, you can't let the Russians examine it. Now listen, the Russians are not saints. They have done some really bad things, and they have really bad people in their government. Okay, but I find it really disturbing when the entire world, the European Union, NATO, the UN, everybody is joining together at once. Cross-party lines, pretty much.
Our dog has a thing, which she does.
She knocks all the food out of the bowl.
She just came up the stairs and she literally uses her nose to knock all the food out onto the floor.
But then doesn't really pick it all up. So my point is, I have to question, like, hold the phone a minute. This is a very harsh line that Theresa May and Parliament is taking against Russia. Very quickly. One guy, okay, other people were injured. It was intended for one guy. And all of a sudden, there have been many other instances where you could have done this. Okay, this isn't like the only time this has happened. Now, granted, recently, Britt Bosma was putting in.
Do sanctions against all the countries from where the terrorists come from?
Exactly. Why is it that they're coming so hard against Russia?
What about Saudi Arabia? Why don't you got huge sanctions against them?
Why don't you stop letting these terrorists come into your country if you really care that much? You don't. This is a political move by globalists, by geopolitical, people.
Because Russia is no longer towing the line. At some point.
And they are trying to put Russia back in their place.
Oh my gosh, you have to see this. Is hilarious. Russian airplane takes off.
Okay, so anyway, there was another murder from an ex-Putin enemy, or current Putin enemy, however you want to say that, recently that I had read about too, and Britt Bosma keeps putting it in the chat, so I want to focus on that as well. All I know is this, it smells fishy to me. I'm not going to say one way or the other, but I'm just saying it smells fishy. This is the intent, and we were saying this on IPP TV, and we were saying it to John B. Wells and Caravan to Midnight, and these two people, or groups of people that we highly respect and love, were disagreeing with us. So I don't know. We could be wrong, right? But when all of my enemies are coming together for one thing, I have to say, hold the phone. You have to understand, Hillary Clinton was supposed to win.
Right.
And then we were going to go to war with Russia. IPPTV thinks that the opposite is true. But seriously, we were supposed to go to war with Russia. And I believe wholeheartedly that this move by Theresa May and what is happening right now with the UK and Russia is a backup plan. Somebody must have come up with it. All right, if the United States can't go to war with Russia, then we need to get Britain to go to war with Russia. And because the United States is Great Britain's biggest ally, then the United States will be brought in, because Theresa May said, I just got off the phone last night with Angela Merkel and Donald Trump, and they are both telling me that we are all going to take a unified hardline stance here.
Now, here's the thing. Here's another angle to go at, and I have stuff in my hair from moving grasses. Here's another angle I've been thinking about, because I like to take the people from IPP seriously, and I've been running with it.
Yeah.
So Hillary Clinton pressed that stupid Russian reset button.
Mm-hmm.
And then Bill Clinton got hundreds and thousands of dollars from a Russian firm.
Right.
And
For a
then
speech.
under Hillary Clinton,
Secretary of State at the time.
Secretary of State, 20% of our uranium was sold to the Russians.
Yeah.
And then
And it should not have
there was
been.
a good Russian guy who was an informant to the FBI who was showing that this trucking agency was bribing and taking kickbacks and all kinds of craziness connected also to the Clintons.
Right.
Barack Obama is on tape saying, tell Vladimir I'll have a lot more leniency once I'm elected again. So, what you have is an entire administration bent on working with Russia.
Right.
What happened? What happened? Now, something happened, and we may not know what that something is. And I don't think we do. But at some point, Hillary Clinton became the enemy, personal enemy of Vladimir Putin.
Yeah.
Something changed.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. I'm not privy to that information. I know that for a fact that Americans, Newsweek and everything, Time Magazine, during the Cold War, were very sympathetic to Russia. They were communists. Hillary Clinton is a communist,
Right.
Marxist. Barack Obama is a
Right.
Marxist. Very sympathetic to the Soviet Union. Now, what happened? Their dream died.
Yeah.
Of the Soviet Union. It died. All right? It died. And we do have Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama playing double agents. So we don't know exactly what's going on. So I can only give you facts. Fact number 1. Russia has aligned itself with China. No good.
No good.
Because China is way more dangerous than Russia. China is in our movies, owns our national debt, has a giant, huge army, has super control over its people.
They own land here.
They have literally no free speech whatsoever. No, they're not really allowed to have any Christianity. They don't allow people to own their own little farms and grow their own things and do their own thing, right? Everybody's completely controlled. Right. Not so in Russia anymore.
Right.
Russia, for all intents and purposes, has turned its back on communism. They have embraced a capitalist society. They have embraced organic farming. They are turning. They
have become very populist.
They become very populist. They're very anti-Muslim, very anti-Islam.
Putin wants his people to make lots of babies, and you know what? It could be that Putin wants his people to make lots of babies so that he can get an army together and declare war on the whole world. It could be. It could be.
No,
but
Putin knows his life is in that long. He is in defense of his country, the motherland.
Exactly. He understands that, listen, without children, you do not have a strong nation.
Right. He's not a good guy. I mean, I think I heard him say, the worst thing that ever happened was the disbandment of the Soviet Union. Okay. He is not a saint by any. I don't like the guy, but I do. I kind of like him. But I don't really like him. But
if somebody's if they are really repentant and they have committed the crimes that Vladimir Putin, we all know that he has committed. Okay. then as a repentant person, you have to be like, okay, lock me in irons. I am not healthy for society. I need to pay for what I've done. So as a Christian, that's what a Christian would do. They would fess up. They would be like, listen, I did this. Like if a child molester, same thing, but what he has done is far worse than child molestation 100 times over. He's a murderer. He's a killer.
Right.
It's KGB. All right. He should, as a truly repentant person, and don't give me the garbage of, well, no, he's the only one that can lead. I don't care about leading the country. Morally, you have to turn yourself in. So I want to take you guys at least that far.
But they are also doing something good.
Yes.
They're getting back to the gold standard.
Yes.
Now, this is hilarious to me because what happened was an airplane lifted off with a bunch of gold bars.
Precious cargo.
And 20 these gold bars fell out of the airplane.
No.
Yeah, I want to try to see if I can find some more pictures here. But they were strewn all over the runway. And they had to go pick them up. I think it was...
Oh my gosh,
yeah.
That's so great.
It was like $378 million.
What?
3 tons of gold.
No.
3 tons of gold fell
Hot
out
dog
over the runway
I
there.
thought you had a video you were gonna play.
But no, I guess I didn't have the video. I said
but
I hoped it was a video. No, it was just a couple pictures.
Oh,
yeah.
I wanted to see a video.
I know, me too.
Oh my gosh! All right, so whose gold was it? Was it the Russian government?
Yeah. It was.
That's a lot of gold.
It's negative 23 degrees Celsius in Yakutia. Sunny. We expect showers of diamond, platinum, and gold. Plane loses $360 million of cargo, gems, and precious metals. Rain over Russia's coldest region as police and Secret Service stage emergency search for the. There's the hole that the hole.
They're gonna have to change that song, "Gold Bars from Heaven." I mean, that is really awesome. That is. Oh, I wonder who got to be the person to go pick it up.
Me. I'm just gonna go pick up some gold.
I'm gonna volunteer to go help clean that up.
There's the hole. There's the rest, I guess, of the gold.
Why were they flying it? Where were they taking it?
That's a good question.
That's what I want to know. Oh
Oops.
my gosh.
Somebody hit the oops button on that one.
The yellow brick road. Well said, Zoe.
That is really funny. So anyways, one of the things that Putin is doing is amassing gold and silver.
And every country should be doing that.
Yeah.
Because all nations pretty much we operate under the dollar. Okay? And the dollar is I mean a hair less than a hair's breadth. I think she might be, but Kansas can let her in.
He's
from collapsing. I'll get her. So they all know we need to be using these fake dollars, which they are fake dollars. Donald Buskey, Eric sent us a big stack of them for Leah's birthday. Real fake ones.
Right. So
that's why they're getting these.
All right. So Megyn Kelly interviewed Putin. This is one part that NBC actually cut from the interview. And I want to start with this one because what they cut is probably more important than what they allowed you to see. Megyn Kelly is an evil, wicked, vindictive woman. And I don't like her.
She's the devil with the red dress on. If she is
hammering Putin, then, All right, so here we go. Please listen and pass what I'm about to say. On to your viewers and listeners. Now remember, they cut this part out. Please pass this on.
He says, you're holding discussions
with our American friends and partners. People who represent the government, by the way. And when they claim that some Russians interfered in the U.S. elections, we tell them we did so fairly at a very high level, but you are constantly interfering in our political life. Can you imagine? They don't even deny it. You know what they told us last time? They said, yes, we do interfere. But we're entitled to do it. Because we're spreading democracy. And you're not, so you can't do it. Does this seem like a civilized and modern approach to international affairs? At the level of the Russian government and at the level of the Russian president, there has never been any interference in the internal political process in the United States. Not long ago, President Trump said something that was absolutely correct. He said that if Russia's goal was to sow chaos, it has succeeded. But that's not the result of any Russian interference. That's the result of your political system. The internal struggle, the disorder, the division. Russia has nothing to do with it whatsoever. We have nothing to do with it at all. Get your own affairs and orders first. And the way the question's been framed, as I mentioned, that you can interfere anywhere you want because you bring democracy, but we can't. That's what causes conflicts. You have to show your partners respect, and they will respect you. Can I ask you a different question? Why do you encourage the government coup in Ukraine? Why did you do that? And the U.S. has direct knowledge of spending billions of dollars on it. This was openly acknowledged by the U.S. officials. Why do they support government coups and armed conflict in other countries? Why has the U.S. deployed missile systems along our borders?
Do you have the whole interview? How long was the whole interview?
I do have the whole interview.
We're already at 2 hours.
But we are at 2 interviews.
2 interviews?
2 hours.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, and then this is another good point. Jacob from Poland says, please remember about the crash of the Polish plane in Smolensk. I think that's the best way I can pronounce it. Where the massive Polish politicians and the Polish president and his wife were killed. And the Russians, that was a mass cover-up. I think there's a shopping mall there that's been built on top of the plane crash. I mean, the Polish people wanted to come in. They only let a few of them do an investigation. Russia performed their own internal investigation. I think, what year did that happen? 2010? I want to say. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe it wasn't quite that long ago. But seriously, yeah, the Russians are not good people. Okay? I mean, there are really bad Russians. We need to establish that. Okay? But it doesn't matter what you say about the Russians. If it's not true, it's just not true.
So we can play some of it. There are 2 parts, but actually, I would encourage you guys to see the whole interview, which is an hour and a half.
Yeah.
But they only aired 2 parts.
We're going to play the part that they want us to see.
First,
where is it start here?
I didn't say that we don't have the goal of putting an end.
Exclusive. Confronting Putin.
In democracy. His name, of course, is Vladimir Putin. And tonight, in an at times new, supposedly invincible nuclear weapon.
Just get to the interview.
You told me that there was nothing in intelligence agencies, that Russia interfered in our confront him. So the last time we met, in June, I asked you about the conclusion of our American intelligence agencies that Russia interfered in our presidential election. You told me that there was nothing specific in these reports. That if there's anything specific, you said, then there will be something to discuss. You told me, as they used to say in the KGB, addresses, houses, names. Since then, 13 Russians and 3 Russian-owned companies have been indicted by a special prosecutor named Robert Mueller in the United States for interfering in our election. The Internet Research Agency, Yevgeny Prigozhin, and others...
I'm sorry. He is endearing. He giggles and laughs at this stupid stuff. These stupid 13 guys in their basements making Facebook and Twitter memes, anti-Clinton or whatever.
Buying $100,000 worth
Amber
of
alert.
Twitter, worth of Facebook ads.
Right.
Running a cyber warfare operation out of an office at 55 Savashkina Street, St. Petersburg, Russia. Addresses, houses, names. So can we have that discussion now?
Of course. Not only can we, but it seems to me that if this particular subject continues to trouble you, we actually should talk about it.
Why would you allow an attack like this on the United States?
Why have you decided the Russian authorities, myself included, gave anybody permission to do this? Nothing has changed.
Do you know how big Russia is?
Big.
Like, I think it's Romania that operates a lot of those phishing schemes where they, like, pretend to, like, hook up with women and then like get money to be sent? Is that why haven't we said the Romanian government, we need to sanction them, blah, blah, blah?
You and I talked last
They do
time
in Africa all the time.
Some names have popped up. So what? They could just as easily have been the names of some Americans who are sitting here and interfering in your own political process.
But it wasn't Americans, it was Russians. And it was hundreds of people, a monthly budget of $1.25 million, all designed to attack the United States in a cyber warfare campaign. You're up for re-election right now. Should the Russian people be concerned that you had no idea this was going on in your own country, in your own hometown?
Listen, the world is very large and very diverse, and there is a fairly complicated relationship between the United States and the Russian Federation. And some of our people have their own opinion about this relationship. You mentioned a number of names, some individuals, and you're telling me that they're Russians. So what?
Do you condone these activities?
No. We don't encourage them, and we don't order them. But what I'm saying is that individuals could have used certain tools in other countries. They could have sent relevant information from France, from Germany, from Asia, from Russia. What does it have to do with us?
So it wasn't the Russians.
Okay, fine, Russians. But they're not government officials. So what if they're Russians? There are 146 million Russians, so what?
So what is he doing about it? If the 13 Russian nationals plus 3 Russian companies did in fact interfere in our elections, is that okay with you?
Okay.
She already asked that question.
So, by her own admission, every single one of us who covered the French election and put out memes and Twitter things and Facebook things for Marine Le Pen.
Right.
We should be put in jail.
Because we were interfering with international elections.
When we covered the Italian election and encouraged you to vote for populist parties,
right,
we should be in jail.
Right.
For interfering in a foreign election.
Granted, though, she is saying that this was an actual operation that had a massive budget. And so I'm not trying to like play devil's advocate here, but there is, and Putin is not denying that. But he's saying this could have happened anywhere. It could have happened by anyone. I didn't order this. The government didn't order this. We didn't pay for it.
Breitbart.
They have a budget.
Has a huge budget and is constantly putting out information pro-populist candidates, Gert Wilders. How do you think I learned about these people?
Well, and I'm half wondering though.
And Steve Bannon should be arrested as a foreign.
I mean, that number seems extremely high to me. I mean, are they including RT in that? This is so ridiculous.
I don't care. I couldn't care less. Because they don't represent.
You couldn't care less?
They do not represent the government. I could not care less.
Is that a communist freedom of speech?
Could be.
Is that freedom of speech in a communist country?
Good point.
That seems like freedom of speech. I don't care what my citizens do.
I'm not going to censor my citizens from doing whatever they want to do with their money.
If they want to put out memes pro-Trump, anti-Hillary Clinton, they have the free speech to do so? Russia's looking better and better every day.
Yes, they do not represent the interests of the Russian state. Maybe they're not even Russians. Maybe they're Ukrainians, Tatars, Jews, just with Russian citizenship. Even that needs to be checked. Maybe they have dual citizenship, or maybe a green card. Maybe it was the Americans who paid them for this work. How do you know? I don't know.
Earlier, I asked Mr. Putin if he was investigating the attack. What have you done to satisfy yourself that the 13 Russian nationals who have just been indicted, those 3 Russian companies, were not behind this? This has caused an international incident.
No, you're making an incident. You're making a mountain out of a molehill.
Here's the thing. They just can't get over the fact that Hillary lost and Russia had nothing to do with that loss. The people just didn't want her.
They gave us, if they did hack the DNC and got Podesta emails out, God bless the Russians. God bless them.
I know that they do not represent the Russian state, the Russian authorities.
Will you extradite them to the United States?
Never. Russia does not extradite its citizens to anyone. Just like the United States. Does the United States extradite its citizens to anyone? That's for starters. Second, I do not see that they did something illegal.
Mr. Putin then tried to turn the tables on the United States.
We tell them just recently at a very high level, but you constantly interfere in our political life. Can you imagine? They don't even deny it.
You've stated explicitly you believe that America interfered in Russian elections, right?
It does so constantly.
But Russia did not interfere in America's election.
No, nor does it intend to. It's impossible to do.
Why not? Why not? Why wouldn't you?
First of all, we have our own principles, which consist of not allowing anyone to interfere in our internal affairs. And we do not get into the affairs of others. Those are our principles.
Come on. Come on. You told me just yesterday, because we were amping up our missile defense systems, you had to respond in kind with increased nuclear technology. Now you want me to believe that we attack your Russian elections and you say, we're going to take the high road.
But she's admitting to it, but so it's okay?
Yeah.
How about we extradite all those people to the Russia?
Yeah.
We're not talking about missiles here. This is an entirely different area.
Cyber warfare.
This isn't any kind of cyber warfare, and we don't have the tools that you have.
Cyber warfare would be not information. Information is information, you guys. Cyber warfare is going in and literally hacking votes,
government. Yeah, exactly.
Or putting spyware in and causing viruses. That I can see.
They put ads up. People have a choice whether they want to believe an ad or not.
They wrote bad stories about Hillary Clinton.
We don't have the global media that you have. We have only Russia Today. And even that you declare...
You have cyber tools.
You keep interrupting me. That's not polite.
Polite or not, I continue to press Mr. Putin on the Russian connection. The Mueller indictment is very specific about what the Russians were doing. There is a specific email, a damning email, that is cited therein by a female Russian who appears to have been caught red-handed. She says as follows: "We had a slight crisis here at work. The FBI busted our activity. Not a joke. So I got preoccupied with covering tracks together with the colleagues. I created all these pictures and posts, and the Americans believed that it was written by their people. And now you want to sit here and say you don't have the tools to do it, that we have the market on cyber interference? That's just not true."
I don't even understand what you're talking about right now. You know, this is some sort of nonsense.
As our exchange grew more intense, I asked him about Russian corruption, chemical weapons, and Mr. Putin's personal connection to it all. Coming up, the man that...
All right, you know what? It's fascinating. We could sit here and watch the entire interview with you, the whole hour and a half. But we'll leave that for you guys to go and finish the rest. We can't watch the whole interview.
Prigozhin is a powerful Russian.
With him.
After you heard that...
There's an hour and a half of footage.
This is just twisting the facts around.
One of your
watch this much.
Earned him a nickname, Putin's cook. It's not true that you don't know the individuals who are accused of conducting this. One of your good friends is actually accused of helping conduct this. His name is Yevgeny Prigozhin. You know him?
I know that person, but I wouldn't consider him one of my friends. This is just twisting the facts around. He is a businessman. He is involved in the restaurant business and some other business. But he is not a government official. We don't have anything to do with him.
After you heard that he had been indicted, did you pick up the phone and call him?
Like I have nothing better to do. I've got so many things to do and so many problems.
He's your friend. He's just been indicted.
I just said he's not my friend.
Didn't you hear what I said? He's not a friend of mine. I do know this person, but I wouldn't list him among my friends. Wasn't I clear? And there is a great number of individuals like that. In Russia, there are 146 million people. Not as many as in the US, but still a pretty large number.
He's pretty prominent.
You said that he's well known. So what? There are plenty of well-known people in Russia. He's not a public official. He's not a government employee. He's just a private individual, a businessman.
Some people say his real job is to do your dirty work.
Who are these people? And what dirty work? I don't engage in any dirty work. Everything I do is out in the open. This is like a stereotype for you. You have someone who likes doing dirty work, and you think that we do the same. No, that's not the case.
It's the fact that you know him, you admit that, he's a prominent Russian businessman, and he's specifically accused of running this operation. B, this is the same man who's been accused of sending Russian mercenaries into Syria, and they attacked a compound held by American-backed militia. This guy gets around.
You know, this individual may have very diverse interests, including, for example, interests in the area of the fuel and the energy industry in Syria. However, we do not support him in any way. We do not interfere with him in any way, and we do not assist him. It's his own personal initiative.
Yevgeny Prigozhin says he has no connection to the Russian mercenaries in Syria and denies involvement in any election interference. For his part, Mr. Putin insists his country has no desire to intervene in American politics.
It's not our goal to interfere. We do not see what goal we would accomplish by interfering. There's no goal. So let's imagine we set ourselves the goal of interfering. For what? For the sake of interfering? What is the goal?
Creating chaos. That's the goal. That's certainly the belief of the U.S. intelligence community.
I think his motivations were many. He really does try to shape the...
So I don't know. I'm going to let you guys make your own decisions.
I like what Devonna here says. She says that woman is going to start World War III. You and my mother would get along quite well because she came out after watching that interview like a house on fire. That woman is trying to start World War III. This is sedition. She's interfering in government policy. I mean, seriously. And you are so right. But it's not Megyn Kelly. She's given talking points.
Right.
When she worked for Fox News, she was given the Fox News talking points.
Right.
She delivered them with conviction. She's an actress. Okay.
Right.
Now that she's on the other side, she mastered maybe in a debate team. Okay. Can play both sides. I wouldn't be that good at playing both sides. I could do it a little bit better than some. But seriously, she does it pretty well. However, someone else in the chat had said maybe she should try going hard after, it was Robert, after Hillary, because Putin is too smart for her. Megyn, Putin is too smart for you. You should not take on Putin. Maybe try someone smaller.
Right.
Is that all the news? McMaster. There's nothing new there, but I did want to mention it to you guys because last night we thought that he really was gone because it was like, I mean, it was this close. Like, he's gone, he's gone, he's gone. I read a CNN article today, I know, but I like to read what the opposing team is saying because it really reveals a lot. Trump had said that he didn't do it yet and that it pretty much it is going to happen, but he didn't do it because he didn't want to embarrass McMaster and that he wanted to have a smooth transition once there was somebody else to come in and replace. And CNN was kind of viewing that as like a bad thing. So I don't know. It's definitely going to happen. It's really interesting. I take my uncle to the gym 3 days a week, and on Fridays he hits the weights, the machines and stuff, and so we kind of go around. He does the bike and he does several different things. Mondays is Pilates, Wednesday is the pool, but Fridays is the weights, and I really enjoy Fridays for one reason. This specific gym is a lot of doctors and nurses and stuff and health officials go there, but then there's also like this old man's club of like older dudes that go to the gym. Now there's a track on the second floor that goes all the way around all of these places. And so no matter where I'm at, I can hear the old dudes talking as they go around the track, or I could hear them on the weight machines. And one lady that I could tell was a liberal today, by the way she said this to me, I was listening to the one guy came up to the other guy, the old guy. They're not that old. I'm probably like 75. But, and he's like, so did Trump get rid of McMaster yet? And the other guy's like, I don't know. And he's like, I heard he was supposed to or whatever. And they're kind of going back and forth. And he's like, well, it's about time Trump cleared house. He should really. And then I heard some other guys. I'm mixing these stories up. But the point is, very sound-minded older gentlemen at this gym. Several different stories that I heard today. But the consensus was it's time for Trump to clean house because he should have people surrounding him that support his agenda. It's that simple. I think even Chris, he went to bed. He was saying that on one of his vlogs today too. Say. So the liberal, I overhear this and I look at the guy and I kind of smile at him. I couldn't help it because I agreed with what he was saying and I just thought it was fantastic that he's willing to say it out loud. And the lady, I didn't know she was even paying attention to me. She gets up off the machine that was behind us and she goes, she kind of leans in, but it was loud enough for them to hear. And she's like, you would think that they're talking about sports or something, the way that they're always thinking they can like change I don't remember exactly what she said, but it was something like, you think that they could like change, like, you know, you want to make the decisions for the sports
Armchair
teams.
quarterback, get it.
And you could tell she was just not happy with their discussions. And I thought to myself, you know what? I would be happy with them making the decisions about these sports teams. And it's, you know what? I actually prefer older gentlemen, and they do talk about sports, that instead of getting together and talking about sports, they're talking about real political things. I actually, and maybe I'm a little prejudiced here, but I was surprised. I was like, you know, that's going on? Like,
yeah, that's pretty impressive.
Are you on YouTube? I mean, seriously.
That's pretty cool.
Who knows what's going to happen? I view it. A lot of people are saying, even a lot of you guys are saying, with all of this shakeup that Trump's doing, getting rid of all these people, it's going to make people view him as weak. People, you and us here at Resistance Chicks, for over a year now, have been saying, why doesn't he get rid of McMaster? Why doesn't he get rid of Tillerson? Why doesn't he get rid of all of these people? Why is he surrounded by a swamp? And now that he's doing it, some of you, and not all of you, some of you are going, oh, well, he's going to be viewed as weak. He's shaking things up. Get rid of these swamp creatures. How they were able to stay there this long, I don't know. I'm not going to be the judge of that. But they're going now, and that's a good thing. We should all be having like a party.
Speaking of party, you want to do presents?
Yeah.
So thank you guys for sending things. Birthday week extended, so we wanted to wait till most of you were here. I thought about going into another segment, but you're already here, so why not? Right? So we have a few more packages to open up.
I don't have my knife, oddly enough. I put on a different pair of pants.
So sometimes, I know you guys don't like your full name. So if I don't say your name, you're like, oh, you should have said my name.
I think that came from an eBay thing.
I didn't order
No,
this.
you didn't. It went to Resistance Chicks. That's
okay.
Somebody ordered it for you. Maybe they think you need it.
I think it'd be awesome. I'm like, because I order things from...
Why don't you tell them
seems
what
like
it
something
is?
I would order on eBay.
Let me get some scissors.
Prevegan. Proves memory.
I like it. I need that.
Vitamin D and apicorin. It's clinically shown to help with mild memory problems associated with aging. In a computer-assessed, double-blinded, placebo-controlled study, it improved certain aspects of cognitive function. So I'm not
So
exactly
hang on.
sure.
How do you receive a gift like that? Are you trying to drop a hint? What are you trying to say?
Is it a joke? Or is it for real? Because I'm going to take it. We'll see what happens. I think it's awesome.
I think I need it more than you do.
Thank you, Jim.
Was it from Jim?
Jim. From Jim.
Okay, this is from Gary. Now, I said, Gary, our moderator, I said, when I saw that this was from Diamond and Silk, I said only Gary could support 2 of his favorite YouTube channels at once by giving a gift.
I think I know what this is. Are you ready?
Now wait, there's a card here from Gary.
Okay.
Do you want to open the card first?
Happy birthday! Choo choo, baby. Show him the box. Show him the box.
Oh, show him the box.
Time to light your candles.
That is so awesome.
Don't worry, I have the fire department on speed dial. Hope you have a very happy birthday, Gary.
That is fantastic.
All right, one for you, one for me. Are you ready?
Great.
I know what this is.
Hard.
I knew it. Are you ready, you guys?
Oh my gosh. Wait a minute.
We get the official Trump bling, baby. They're always wearing their little Trump bling. I love Diamond and Silk. They are awesome.
I love Gary.
I love Gary for the Trump bling, baby.
I know Will in the chat's having a conniption fit. I'm gonna wear this proudly.
Me too.
I love it. It's actually really pretty, isn't it?
And ride it.
It's really
Come
pretty.
on the
Tell me that
train,
that's not
choo-
really
choo
pretty.
Train.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I absolutely love it.
Trump bling, baby.
I love that I make out
Blingy, blingy.
when Leah does for her birthday.
It is pretty awesome. Thank you, Gary. We shall wear them proudly. I see Diamond and Silk always advertising them, and
When we interview Diamond and Silk, and we will eventually interview Diamond and Silk, we will wear our Trump.
There's a note.
Pins.
He says, sorry, it's going to be late, but then, sorry, we're like giving it out. I'm still, let's see. I ordered 2 of the items because I thought Michelle should have one too. Hope you both enjoy them. Also,
I do.
Never really thanked you for letting me drop by on my way to visit family, so thanks again. Sorry about the sloppy handwriting. Actually, Gary,
you have really nice handwriting.
You have amazing. I was going to say you had like a girl write this because it's such good handwriting. God bless and happy birthday. Thank you, Gary. Good handwriting, by the way, actually.
Very good handwriting.
Come on a train and ride it. So thank you for supporting Diamond and Silk because I know your purchase goes to support them as well.
Yes.
So. All right.
This is from Rhonda.
Rhonda, you have such a wonderful spirit. Everyone can see it. Your light shines so bright. It changes things. It puts smiles on faces and it puts love in hearts. It touches lives in a real and meaningful way. That's why you're wished every good gift on your birthday. It always is a blessing to have you in this world. It truly is a blessing to have you in this world. Love, God bless, Rhonda.
Oh, that's a really pretty card. So
thank you, Rhonda.
Barry.
Beautiful card.
AKA.
This came all the way
Brit
from
Baza.
the UK.
Yes. He asked me a while ago. He said, "Did a shoebox size
Barry
box package come in the mail?" And it hadn't, and now it has.
Boy, Gary's son.
He really listen. Or perhaps it went through customs. I want to know, Barry. Did you tape this up like this?
You do it.
Or was it? Did customs open it?
I got the computer here.
And then
international standard.
Like I said, there's a couple of other packages that are supposed to be coming.
You never know, international. We got that Christmas thing, 2 months later?
Yeah, hang on, you just totally ripped over Barry's address.
Oh, sorry. I'm trying to help.
You did a really good job here, Barry.
Yes.
You know, if we were prepared, we would open. Don't get rid of that. We would open things at least halfway prior.
Yeah, probably. But the suspense. Da, 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 da. I don't know what. We need suspenseful music. I'm sorry.
There's nothing suspenseful about that song. You just hailed to the chief.
Sorry, I know. I was trying
from the Brit.
Stop it. That was kind of funny.
For your suspense music. Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay, for those of you that don't know, Barry is an engraver and does absolutely phenomenal engraving work. I'm going to take a wild guess and say that... Now you got to save that
I know.
Ribbit. No.
I know. That is beautiful. Oh my gosh.
Yes, I did. I wrapped guns like that.
Oh. Special birthday wishes for everything to make your day perfect. Have the loveliest birthday. Hope you enjoy... There's chocolates in there.
I know, I'm going to just hold this up for a minute.
Marmite is like Vegemite. Oh, okay, we'll try it. But a lot different. You either love it or hate it. Jimmy Dodgers are from the English food video you did, so you can see what they taste like. Anyway, hope you liked them. Thanks for your show. Love, Barry Brit Baza. Look at this card. It's so pretty.
It's really pretty.
It's a very lovely card.
Aww.
Have the loveliest birthday.
What's it say in the letter?
All right, UK greeting.
Barry, can we read the letter? Hope.
Hey, Leah and Michelle. Just thought I would drop you a line to say thank you for your show. It's basically telling the news that no one else will touch and delivered with both professionalism and humor.
I don't know about how professional.
Along with honesty and morals.
That we do have.
It's great. Please continue to make all us laugh and be entertained while delivering some vital news. The songs at the end of each show are great and are now a true signature of your shows. Please continue with them. My only criticism of the songs at the end of the show is not enough of Jerusalem being sung a lot. LOL joke. Anyway, thank you for your shows. I have them, especially the European ones and the UK news on Sunday. I love them. I hope Leah has a great birthday. I certainly did. Suggestion, do a birthday party show. LOL. Hope Leah likes the... we did, actually. Thank you for that. The Ferrero Rocher collection. And please get her to share with you, Michelle.
Oh, yeah, that's happening.
I've also included
The
some
sharing is
Jammy
happening.
Dodgers. Jimmy or Jammy Dodgers? Oh, my goodness.
Do you want me to open these?
Sure. Yes, please. Just keep showing.
Now, but we also have UK newspaper. That's
how fun.
We're going to read it.
Seeing as you asked about them on your show with the British food with Horatio, and there is some Marmite included too. This is for you to compare with the American Vegemite. Good luck with that one, LOL. You will either love it or hate it. Hey, Candace, look at where's the card he did? I want you to
The
see.
envelope. Wait.
Envelope.
It is right there.
Look.
Okay, wow. All right. Here's the Marmite.
Ew. Matthew, Marmite. Wake up your taste buds.
Whoa.
Put the oomph in your breakfast. Woo, doggy. Matthew, come smell this.
Let me smell it. I'm afraid.
Woo.
I'm scared.
Woo.
Let me have it.
Matthew, please. I want to.
Whoa. Dang. Shoot. Wow.
How do you use it?
Please try Marmite now on screen. Ha ha. Says worth a look. We need Matt. Go get one of those little spoons out of the. They're in the drawer actually.
I'm afraid.
I'm not scared. I ain't scared.
What are you supposed to put it on? It's yeast extract, rich in vitamin B. Rich in vitamin B.
Here we go. Thank you.
Let Matt do it first.
No.
Would you?
Come on screen. What are you supposed to put it like on toast?
Toast.
They say to put it on toast. You only have to taste a little bit of it.
Oh gosh. I don't know. Go ahead, you try
Go ahead,
first.
Kansas.
Oh, please,
Here it
Jesus.
comes. Get in this.
It smells intense.
I don't exactly know how to describe it. It's different. I don't know how to describe
What
it.
is
You just have to
it? What
try
does it
it.
taste like?
Yeast extract. I can't.
You can. Come on.
Can I hold my nose because it's? I dropped it.
It's not going
I
to pour.
dropped it in
It's
the
not
floor.
going to pour out.
It doesn't pour out. No, nothing broke. Everything is still.
Leah, just do it. Put it on toast very thin. So what says a true diplomat? Wow. I see your reaction was not helpful because I felt like it was gonna be all right. That didn't smell that bad.
It's somewhere in between like soy sauce and Worcestershire sauce. I mean, you just
It smelled sweeter than that.
No, you just put like a bunch of random kitchen things together, and that's what it tastes like. I don't know how to describe it.
Here.
Whoa! What is that? Dang!
Here. Why don't you try one of those? You know what?
What in the world?
I'm gonna say.
What in the world? Okay, you know what it smells like? It tastes like when you burn things on the bottom of a pan, right? Yeah. And soy sauce mixed together.
I'm gonna tell you what. This is helpful right now. After that, but it's not an ingredient, in my opinion.
I think you could cook with it.
That you would, yeah. It does taste soy saucy, so I would put it in Chinese. So like, I'm not saying it won't get used.
Yeah, we'll use it.
Because I wouldn't just like soy sauce plain up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I wouldn't want to just down a table.
Worcestershire
sauce.
Yeah.
Candace, you really described it pretty well, though.
Yeah, the good news is a little bit goes a long way.
These are really good.
A little bit goes a long way.
Okay, hang on.
See, so the package will last a long time.
Maia says, did y'all share the same spoon? The germaphobe in me is dying inside. Here's the thing you got to know about us people. Not been around the block. All of us. Okay, well, me a little bit. But they haven't been around the block. So, it's safe. We do not share spoons or any kind of utensils
with any other human
anyone
being
else. Okay? Because y'all people are nasty. And y'all been around and y'all know it.
These are adorable. These are nice. What do you think of Jamie Dodger?
Yeah, that's really good.
Very yummy.
Cindy's like, I think I would like a Jammy Dodger.
You can't have the Jammy Dodger. They are special. You can have some American food.
Fruit sent out. What kind of fruit is it?
Strawberry.
Is it strawberry? Raspberry.
Raspberry. Just kidding. It's absolutely delightful.
These are delightful. And I've got to say, the Marmite will be used. It tastes like soy sauce. We love soy sauce. Just not by itself. Probably not going to put it on toast. Probably going to cook with it in dinners. I would say, this says, put some oomph in your breakfast. I'm going to put some oomph in my dinner. Right? You gave a good example.
Supper, tea.
It's supposed to have a lot of vitamin B. It's yeast extract. Barley, wheat, oats, and rye. That's kind of, yeah.
Will says, well, perfect people, you just had a Marmite orgy and now we are sick. LOL. I'm sorry.
Ugh.
I can eat this in Chinese. I think that we could. Oh, the letter's not finished.
No. Actually, like,
Can I
we
have
put
another
that
one
kind
of
of
those
stuff. We put that kind of stuff in, like, meatloaf, too.
Yeah.
Like Worcestershire sauce.
That was Matt did a really good description.
Yeah.
I'm really impressed. You know, actually, he gave more of a description to that. Whoa. Than what we get
did.
when we make food.
Yeah.
This earring keeps catching my brain.
Good luck with that. You either love it or hate it. I hate Marmite.
Why didn't you say
And haven't tried Vegemite. And actually, we don't have Vegemite. I think that might be an Australian thing. Matt's like,
I guess so.
I think it is. So I did not read the sentence after that. Good thing I didn't read that you hate it, but you sent it, which is hilarious to me.
Only Barry would do that.
Please get Leah to try the Marmite on air with you and for a laugh to see whether you both like it. Serving suggestion is Marmite on toast. Also use it sparingly.
Very sparingly.
Horatio says, sparingly. Don't spread it on like jam as it isn't very strong. Your faces will tell us in the UK what you think of Marmite instantly. Can't hide it.
I love that we did all this before you read
So
that.
thank you again for your show. And although the gifts at the gits at YouTube have demonetized your show, please don't stop making these great shows.
We won't.
Also, Mom Patriot Gallery, you have two great girls, so you must have done the right thing when raising them. You must be proud.
Patriot Gallery.
Oh, she's not around right now. Both Leah and Michelle are a credit to you. One more thing, too. When I buy the farm in the West Country of the UK, you have got to come to the UK, and not only will you have free accommodations, but you'll get a free guide to the West Country of the UK, too. So, with Horatio in Yorkshire and your other UK viewers, I think you may need a gap year to explore the UK with the amount of free accommodation you will have. Your UK viewers love what you do, so thanks, and please carry on, Britt Barzaberry. Please sing Jerusalem again. Hee hee.
Oh, did those
in ancient time walk over England's mountains?
No, you're ruining it. You're ruining it.
And to the
Lamb of God.
Na 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 na. Close.
No.
Really close.
Not really.
Thank you,
So
Barry.
yeah, actually, when we do
When
come
you
to the
buy
UK,
that farm, that would be amazing. Don't buy the farm. Buy the farm. Don't buy the farm.
between you, Horatio, of course, we have to visit Justin in Manchester.
You know, it's
We've got
special when
several
it
of
comes
you
in a
around
plastic box.
that we have to visit, and
It's
we plan to do
special
so.
right there. Very special. Yes, hopefully you get your free speech thing worked out before we come over. Or your Islam thing, whichever comes first.
Yeah, because
we don't have to say anything, because we actually wanted to come for Plymouth regardless of, we don't really need to come to talk about Islam or anything else. UK,
but right now,
immigration.
we might be like extradited.
We want
Or
to
just
come
not
for
let in.
Plymouth 2020.
Right.
To celebrate. If not, we will just be in Plymouth, Massachusetts. So yes, with that.
This is like locked up here.
Desktop.
What is this?
It
It's a
is
pull
locked
tab.
up. It's a pull tab. No.
What?
You don't need to eat those on there. We should sign off. I'm just saying, we've been going for a while.
Okay.
So, you guys, thank you so much for being with us.
They sell these in America. I've never had one.
Nope. I don't think I have either. We don't buy fancy chocolates.
No, we don't. Somebody had sent me, who was it? Dr. Charles sent the Lindt chocolates. Now they've become my absolute favorite.
Yes.
Please don't stop sending me
We
things
don't-
that become my favorite,
we don't
and
buy
then I can't
chocolates that
afford
come
to
all
buy
fancy
them.
like this.
All right, don't do that.
So, find us on Facebook, Resistance Chicks, on Twitter, Resistance Chicks. We've got a video coming out with Caravan of Midnight, John B. Wells. We've got an interview coming out with our Polish people. We did both of those on Wednesday, so as soon as that gets worked out, we're going to bring that to you. We might have an interview with John B. Wells and his wife, who's South African.
to talk about the plight of
the white South African farmers. And catch us Sunday, probably at 1. Who knows? We might cover Tommy a little bit early, but what I'm thinking is he'll probably do his thing, and then we'll cover what he does. So that's Sunday at 1 Eastern Standard Time. Remember, because of Daylight Savings Time in the UK, we are going to be an hour off because of that. So
Barry said I could.
Barry said you could.
And they came from him.
So thank you, Barry. Thank you for staying up. We still need to. He has a great friend, Ian. We have to redo an interview with him.
Yeah.
Somehow his Skype got all messed up. Pretty good, huh? All right, guys. God loves you. We love you.
We love you.
Come on a train and ride it, baby. Choo choo. Come on a train and ride it.
Okay.
Come on a train to choo choo
Thanks.
train.
I haven't thanked our moderators in a while, but like everybody was here. Will, Maia, Gary, Brett Boz, Martha, look, Kelly was here.
Justin with a Y.
Rosa Sharon had to leave. I hope I'm not forgetting anybody. I think I hit you all, but thank you. We really appreciate you.
We love
you.
And
all of our viewers, if you left a comment, leave it after the video processes.
Please.
Okay. Not right to eat on.
And if you have any questions,
Happy St. Patty's Day.
Yes. What did he do with a drunken sailor? What did he do with a drunken sailor? What did he do with a drunken sailor? Early in the morning, hooray and up she rises, hooray and up she rises, hooray and up she rises, early in the morning. Maybe, if we have a chance, we'll try to practice a few Irish jiggy things for Sundays.
Put him in the longboat till he's sober. Put him in the longboat.
For our UK. Okay. Ireland's kind of there, so.
Kind of.
Yeah. Kind of.
All right.
All right.
Good evening. Happy Friday.
That's how I it. That's fun.
I was cold all alone. No place for home every day. So afraid. But you called my name.